Well, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. So guys, we are finally getting some rain here in Georgia. Finally got some, like you said, an hour or so before the live stream. As far as platforms that you guys can reach us on, YouTube is our primary platform. You can also get us on Facebook/Meta, and we are trying Instagram again tonight. We'll see how well it works. I'm already seeing it kind of freeze up and doing some weird stuff, but hopefully you guys on Instagram are able to see this as well, so get to be part of the show. If not, come over to YouTube or Facebook, and you'll be able to see everything that I'm showing and whatnot. All right. So guys and gals, like I said, it's been several weeks now without any substantial rain in Georgia, which kind of is not great. We finally got an hour or so before the live stream, which is really, really cool. Tonight, I'm going to answer a lot of your questions. I got some cool lawns to show, some seeding projects that worked really well, some lawns that are in recovery from temperature and tree removal, all those kind of stuff. And tonight, I also want to take some time to talk about pre-emergent. We did a show on this a few weeks ago, but given the number of emails I've been getting on the topic, I figured it'd just be easier to do another one now, and that way I can just say, go watch this, and it will get you all squared away. All right, so first of all, let's see who's in the show this evening. I'll take a couple of questions, and then we'll go into the main topic. But first of all, let's take care of a super chat from Mr. Archie Amos. Thank you so much, Archie.
Super chat received.
No questions, just wanting to support the channel. Appreciate you as always, sir. And for that, let me go and get this all squared away. Unless Cedric shows up, you know how he likes to do sometimes. but we will get you all squared away, sir, as the show's sponsor. So there you go, your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Again, thank you for all the support. Really do appreciate it. All right, so we had some people coming in really early because they wanted to get their question in. Josh Keller, he says, hey, Ron, I wanted to shoot you this question over to you early. Because I'll be back on later after the start time. I live in New Braunfels, Texas, San Antonio, and I just put down Celebration Bermuda. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan so far. He said, also, I just purchased the Revolution mower. Should I wait 3 to 4 weeks to cut the Celebration for the first time? And what height do you recommend initially? 1 inch? Thanks, Ron. Love the channel. All right, great question, Josh. First of all, congrats on the new lawn, and congrats on the new mower. You're going to love it. And yeah, 3 to 4 weeks is a good time period. I mean, you get the new lawn, the new sod installed, it's rooted in, you're good to start mowing it, and that's going to help further encourage new growth. Now, as far as heights go, it really depends on how much time you have. An inch is a good height to start out with. An inch and a quarter, that's a good height to start mowing the lawn at. But the real question when it comes to picking your mowing height, it really comes down to time. Because the lower you go, the lower height you choose to maintain your lawn, the more frequently you're going to have to mow it. So, if you want to verify, if you want to go by, say, the 1/3 rule, right? You don't want to take off more than 1/3 or so at a time in one cutting. Then if you have your lawn at an inch, then the lawn can grow 0.33 inches or a little over 1/3 of an inch between mowings. And depending on the time of year, that might be 3 days, 4 days. It might be 2 days. It really depends on the time of year. But as you go lower, the more frequently you have to do it. So my lawn from May until around now, I mow it practically every other day. It's not strictly necessary, but I enjoy mowing the lawn, so I get out there practically every other day. And I'm maintaining my lawn for the first part of the season. Up until July, it was at 5/8, and then at July, I went up to 3/4 of an inch, and that's where it's going to be for the rest of the season into next year. So, in my case, I'm mowing three times a week, 3 to 4 times per week, at 3/4 of an inch. That's not strictly necessary. At my height of cut, you could get by with 3 times per week especially if you're using growth regulator. At an inch and a quarter, you could be on that twice per week life and have a lawn that still looks pretty good. So really, it depends on how much time you have to really go about doing it. Really, the one thing you're going to find too that's going to be nice is regardless of how your lawn looks now, and I know it's brand new, but Bermuda grass loves being real mowed. It loves being cut short. And the thing that's really going to help it to thicken up and really thrive is just your mowing frequency. So you got a great piece of equipment. We got to give you some dap for that. Got to clap it up for that on the new equipment. So that's covered. The next thing really comes down to you, right? Your regular mowing. Obviously, you're going to want a good nutrient program. Make sure you're feeding the lawn adequately. But the big thing is, the thing that ties it all together is regular mowing. So hope it's useful for you. If you have any other questions, let me know. And again, congrats on the mower. You made a great choice. All right, next up we have True Gator Fan is in the live stream. It says, in a product that shows rates ounces per acre, what is the math to find ounces per 1,000 square feet? Coastal label says 48 ounces on the low rate to 64 ounces per high rate per acre. Great question, True Gator Fan. So an acre is 43,500, I think 560 square feet, right? 43,500 square feet. So you would take whatever the rate is and divide it by 43.5, and that's going to get you your rate per 1,000. So in your case, we take 48, divide that by 43.5, and you end up with just over an ounce. So 1.1 ounces on the low end. And then if you went up to the high rate, we take 64 and divide that by our 43.5, and you end up at 1.47. We'll call that almost 1.5 ounces. So somewhere between 1.1 and just under 1.5 ounces is your rate for that particular product. But if you're using a product and it gives you rates in acre, you can divide it by 43.5, and that will give you the per 1,000 square foot rate. So great question. Appreciate that, man. That's a good one. I'm sure others will have it, so we will definitely save that one. And Coastal is a great product. I got to tell you, on that topic, I've tried a lot of different pre-emergents over the years, and especially in the fall, because the fall pre-emergent is the one that really sets the tone for next year. Really does. It really does. As far as like the amount of headache you're going to have with fighting weeds, as far as how the lawn's going to do, it's really important to get the fall pre-emergent right. And I've tried everything from just a single application of prodiamine, multiple applications of prodiamine, dithiopyr, Coastal. I've used actually Coastal, the product you're talking about, which is prodiamine, Princep, and Image. So prodiamine, amazoquin, and simazine, which is two pre-emergents and then a post-emergent. And the whole idea behind that is it's like a poor man's Coastal, like a less expensive Coastal, a less expensive Spectacle is what I was trying to say. And it works pretty well. And I will tell you, out of them, if I had to rank them in order, I would say that I find Dimension in the fall works the least, produce the least good results for me. A single application of prodiamine, to say in early September, was next. Two applications, so a split up of prodiamine, September, and then again November, December, was better than a single application. And then going to Coastal, going to that combination of simazine, amazoquin, and prodiamine was an order of magnitude better for keeping Poa annua out of my lawn. So it was a big improvement over using Dimension or using prodiamine by themselves. And then even better than that, so I guess the difference between Dimension or multiple apps of prodiamine, if that takes you from here to here by going to Coastal. If you go from Coastal to Spectacle, it's like going from here to like up here. It's several orders better. Like, put it this way: when I use Spectacle Flow in my lawn, when I moved to that, like I would still have, prior to going to that, I would still have with Coastal, some breakthrough as far as Poa annua throughout the lawn. I would still, either in the main part of the lawn, I would have some. In areas where water drains, like the swale area, I would have quite a bit. And then obviously around the borders, near the neighbors, I would have some breakthrough. But I mean, it definitely did a better job than using simazine than using prodiamine or Dimension. When I went to Spectacle Flow, literally the first time I did that, I had like, over the course of the entire winter, I had like three like plugs of Poa annua I had to pull out the entire lawn, over 12,000 square feet. There was none throughout the main lawn. It was all around the borders. So it was all like near where my my lawn comes near my neighbors. There was none in the swale area. So it just, a really excellent product for keeping Poa annua out of your lawn. It is not cheap. It's an expensive product, and frankly, it's expensive because it's worth it. You don't use very much of it. Like one bottle of this stuff, I've got it here. One bottle of this stuff is enough to cover 3 acres, depending on the rate that you're using. So one bottle is going to last you years and years. You could split it with a friend, buddy, someone you like, if you wanted to. But this is the stuff to use on your lawn on warm season turf grass. This is only for warm season turf grass. If you are really serious about keeping Poa annua out of your lawn. And the nice thing about Spectacle as well is that as far as like the duration, like how long it's effective, is longer than those others. So prodiamine, like 3 to 4 months. Same thing with Dimension, more closer to that 3-month time frame. Spectacle, a Coastal, it's similar. It's like that 3 to 4 month time frame. With Spectacle on the low end, you're like 6 months. So really, I've tested it both ways, where I've done a single application of this at the high rate, which is for Bermuda grass is 0.20, right at 0.20 ounces per thousand. I've done that in like early September, like this weekend would be the time to do that. And I didn't put on any pre-emergent until the following spring, till like February-ish, and I was great. And I've also, last year, I tested taking that rate and cutting it in half. So spraying 0.10 ounces now, and then spraying another 0.10 ounces in between November to December. And I got great results with that too. So really depends on which way you want to go. Most of my friends that have spray businesses will spray multiple apps. They'll do one in September and then again another one in later on in the year. I've done it both ways and I find it works great. So it really depends on you whether or not you want to have to get out there when it's a little bit colder out in November, December to spray again. But excellent product. And what you're looking at, Coastal is right there. As far as control, it's really good. Not quite as good as Spectacle. The biggest negative I would give to it is that it just doesn't last as long. And also, I'm not sure where you're finding it, but they used to carry it it used to be available in a 64-ounce bottle. And that they stopped doing that. So the last time I checked, and again, it's a couple of years since I looked at this, but the last time I checked for Coastal, you could only get it in, I think, a 2.5 gallon jug, which for most people, homeowners, is way too much. So It just depends really on what you got your hands on. So hopefully that helps, sir. Long short of it, to answer your question, the short answer to the long answer to your short question is take whatever the acre rate is, divide it by 43.5, 43.5, and they'll give you the per thousand. And that applies to everything. Liquids, granular products, whatever it happens to be, just divide by 43.5, and that will get you your rate per 1,000 square feet. So hope that helps. And for any of you guys that are interested in Spectacle Flow, we do have it in stock. We have a limited amount of it. We don't have very much of it. But we do have it in stock here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go to shop, Weed Killer, and then Pre-emergent, you'll find it here. Spectacle Flow Pre-emergent, and then along with your other options, Dimension, Prodiamine, and then Prodiamine in liquid form. But this is the bee's knees if you got warm season grass. Again, Spectacle is only for warm season turf grass. Do not apply this to your fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass. This is not for you. Any of the other ones would be okay, but Spectacle is not for cool season turf grass. It's only for warm season grass. Only for your Bermuda, your zoysia, St. Augustine. Only for those grasses. You should not apply it on cool season turf grass. It will damage it. All right. Next up is Mr. Roger Mayhew, I think. He says, I just moved into this house. Congrats on the new house. And I have 1.5 acres of all kinds of grass. Well, you got grass. That's something, right? What's the best way to start a program? Okay, so it sounds like you have probably different types of grass, probably likely an assortment of weeds. Without knowing where you live, Roger, if you're in Georgia, the southeast United States, you more than likely have warm season turf grass, in which case you could use a post-emergent herbicide combination to clean that up, to clean up the weeds that you're dealing with in your lawn. And then you can decide, you say you had all kinds of grass, but I would think in your new home, like it was likely sodded with something. So more than likely, again, if you're in the southeast, more than likely Bermuda. If that's the case, then you could use a warm season herbicide combination like Celsius and Certainty, like these two together. Again, not inexpensive, but really, really good as far as cleaning up weeds in a warm season lawn while minimizing damage. You practically, if you spray it at the label rates, you're highly unlikely to cause any damage to your desirable grass. So for warm season grass, this is what I'd recommend. For cool season grass, Tenacity is a great product. Sedgehammer, so you could do Tenacity and Sedgehammer, or Sedgehammer in a 3-way. That would also work too, as well as temperatures are a little bit lower. You got to be careful with 3-ways. They work great for broadleaf control, but you got to make sure that temperatures are, in most cases, under 85 degrees to prevent some temporary injury to your lawn. So the way I would tell folks, if you're trying to take your lawn from 0 to hero, is we have a little infographic on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you just click on the shop right there and you scroll down, there's like a 5-step process. So if you have a lawn that looks kind of like what we see here in step 1, a salad bowl, where you got tons of weeds, grasses of all different types, the first step is to eliminate the weeds. And the thing that goes into doing that is to first identify what kind of grass that you have, right? Because when it comes to, you saw there when I was telling you about herbicide options, really knowing what kind of grass you have is the most important step, because herbicides that are very effective for controlling weeds while minimizing injury tend to be specific to a certain type of grass, right? So if you're going to use, take for example, Celsius and Certainty, excellent combination. Celsius takes care of broadleaf weeds. Certainty takes care of poa annua, sedges, and some of your grassy weeds. But they're really only safe for use on warm season turf grass. If you use them on cool season grass, you're going to damage and or kill it. So the same thing applies to your cool season lawns. If you're going to, if you're somewhere up north, then a combination of, like, say, Tenacity or a 3-way and Sedgehammer are a good choice. But those herbicides would not be safe for use on Bermuda. So step 1 is figure out what kind of grass do you have. It's really important. Don't guess on this. You should be able to figure it out based on what your neighbors have, or just simply ask someone in your area. If you tell me what part of the country you're in, I can give you an idea of what you more than likely have, but make sure you confirm. And then based on that, you can use a post-emergent herbicide to control the existing weeds in your lawn, right? So there's two major categories when it comes to herbicides for controlling weeds. There are post-emergent and pre-emergent. As the name kind of implies, post-emergent are herbicides that you used to control weeds that have already emerged, post them emerging, hence the name post-emergent, right? So they've already started growing in your lawn. You can already see them. You're already hating life. You're already cursing them. You're already mad. Post-emergent herbicides are what you're going to want to use. They tend to also be a bit more expensive as far as compared to what you can get pre-emergent for. Like really good post-emergent herbicide tends to be more expensive than good pre-emergent herbicide, save Spectacle, because that's also pricey too. So knowing what kind of grass you have is important. And then the post-emergent herbicide, again, we would use that for controlling weeds that are currently growing. So if I could wave a magic wand, if I could Thanos snap, and we've now gotten rid of all the weeds in your lawn, you've used a proper post-emergent herbicide, you've got the weeds cleaned up. The next thing is to prevent more weeds from coming in, right? So it's a two-step or two major components to it. And if you're doing it right, pre-emergent, which is another type of herbicide that you apply and then water in, it interrupts the germination process when a weed is trying to grow on your lawn. So as far as just keeping weeds out of your lawn, like limiting the amount of work you have to do, pre-emergent herbicides are an amazing tool, right? So, and the nice thing about them is that they tend to be less expensive outside of Spectacle Flow. And you really only have to use them a couple times per year. So you could use it. In my case here in Georgia, I apply pre-emergent herbicide in the spring. So before soil temperatures are in the mid 50s. So for me, late winter, early spring. So February is when I'm trying to get mine done. And then around now, as a matter of fact, you're kind of stealing my thunder here, but this weekend I'm doing my pre-emergent for the fall, right? So as far as knowing when to apply a pre-emergent herbicide, for most people, I tell them that, if you're in the Southeast United States, late August, early September is a good time to get it down. But the most correct answer is, if you're trying to prevent, especially weeds like Poa annua, is you want it applied and in the soil prior to soil temps getting into the mid 60s. So what I do is whenever soil temps are in the low 70s and trending cooler, which we're starting to have here in Georgia, starting to cool off a little bit, not quite as hot as it used to be, I will get my pre-emergent out. When it comes to pre-emergent, a bit early is far better than being a little bit late, because it's kind of in the name. Once the weeds have emerged, pre-emergent has very limited effectiveness as far as controlling weeds that are already growing in your lawn. So you really want to get it in the soil prior to the weeds emerging for best results. So when it comes to my pre-emergent in the spring, I tend to get it down a week or two early, so like February-ish timeframe. And then for my pre-emergent in the fall, I could more than likely wait in most cases until the third week of September. But there's not really any harm in doing it a couple of weeks early. That way, if there's any Poa annua that may even start trying to germinate, I'm gonna have that controlled with Spectacle Flow. So in your case, we have identified the grass. You're going to use a post-emergent herbicide that is correct and appropriate for your grass type, and you can tell here we label them really easily here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go to shop and you go to Weed Killer, right? Let's say you got cool season grass. You'll see here we have a herbicide kit, and literally right here in the first graphic, the first image, it says this is for cool season grass. Very, very clear. It says tenacity sedgehammer kit with surfactant and dye for cool season grass. If you have warm season grass, like Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, then you have our warm season kit, and it's labeled there clearly as day for warm season turf grass. We even lists like what kinds of grasses you should use it on in the how to use section. It talks about what grasses you can use this on, what ones you cannot use it on. There's labels, there's the rates. With this particular product, I think we have a video in here too showing how I like to mix it. It's not the only way to do it, but it's a way that I like to use it and produces good results. So there's lots of great guidance as far as on the Golf Course Lawn Store for our product descriptions, so you're going to be pretty clear on what you're buying, what it's supposed to be used for. All right. So post-emergent herbicides to clean up existing weeds, pre-emergence to prevent new weeds. If you have, I still don't know what kind of grass you have, but if you have warm season turf grass, in my opinion, the best pre-emergent herbicide for the fall is a product called Spectacle Flow. It is not cheap, but it is, in my opinion, by far the best I've ever used. If you got cool season turf grass, we can go back over here and I'll show you some options for that, because I've already shown you post-emergent, warm season, post-emergent, cool season. But now for pre-emergent, pretty much everything here, other than Spectacle, can be used on cool season turf grass. I mean, pretty much everything here can be used on both warm season grass. So Dimension, safe for warm season turf grass. Prodiamine, safe for warm season turf grass. It's fine. You're good either way with that. But this is the only one. Spectacle is the only one that is really only for warm season grass. So you would, as far as application tips, right? When we talk about post-emergent and pre-emergent herbicides, for the most part, whenever you're talking about post-emergent herbicides, so herbicides are designed to control weeds that are already growing in your lawn. In most cases, they are what you call they're applied using a fine droplet because they are foliar sprays, and it sounds like that's a really like fancy words, makes it sound more complicated than it really is. But if you think of the foliar or the leaf of the plant, the leaf of the weeds, almost like your skin. So for most post-emergent herbicides, they are foliar sprays. So like like Celsius, Certainty, Tenacity, even using as a post-emergent, Sedgehammer, they are all foliar sprays, meaning you would use a fine droplet spray tip to apply them. So this one here, you're probably not gonna come through on camera, but this is my T-Jet spray tip. It's a fine droplet spray tip. I can link it there in the chat if you guys want, but this is what you would use for applying your post-emergent herbicides. The nice thing about post-emergent herbicides is kind of cool is that there's not a whole lot to work to do once you're done spraying them. You simply spray them and allow them to dry. There's no watering in when it comes to the majority of post-emergent herbicides. Like the one that we carry on the store, you spray them and you let them dry. You don't water them in after you're done. When it comes to pre-emergent, the idea behind pre-emergent is that it needs to get into the soil to work, right? So for that reason, we don't really want to use a fine droplet. We want to use a larger droplet spray tip. So I've got one here. This is one type of nozzle. This is called a floodjet nozzle, but there's also a white one that's very popular that I'll be able to show you. You can get it on Amazon, but I'll link one here in the chat for you. And the idea behind pre-emergent when you're spraying a liquid pre-emergent herbicide is that you want to use a larger droplet spray nozzle, because that larger droplet, because we don't have the goal now of like lightly coating the skin of the plant, the leaf of the plant. We're trying to get it past the plant and into the soil. A larger droplet is beneficial for that. You know what I mean? So in that case, using the proper spray tip is important. And then with a pre-emergent, you would want to water that in 24 to 48 hours after application. Normally when I do a pre-emergent app, I will apply it and I'll either water the same day or I'll water the following day. But you don't want to wait too long to get your pre-emergent watered in after you're done. Post-emergent, no need. But pre-emergent, you do need to water it in after application. And if you do that, right? So if you use post-emergent herbicides to clean up the weeds in your lawn, and then use pre-emergent a couple times a year, spring and fall, that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. All that's really left at that point is for you to have a good nutrient program and to really keep up with your mowing, because the best and the most effective weed control, like the cheapest weed control, is to grow a thick and healthy lawn. Because if your lawn is really thick and you got your whatever grass you happen to have, and that's growing thick and it's really healthy, it's much more difficult for other plants to establish, for weeds to establish in a really thick and healthy lawn. So a thick and healthy lawn is really one of the best ways to maintain an amazing lawn once you have that done. So in my case, outside of pre-emergent in the spring and the fall, I may have to spray post-emergent herbicides a couple times a year. And most of the times it's in my mulch beds, right? So I'll have weeds that'll grow in there because there's no grass in there, and I'll have to spray that. But within the lawn itself, like this year, I sprayed Certainty once. I sprayed like one time, and for the most part, and that's really, again, along the edges of my lawn. So you need to think about herbicides, not just post-emergent, pre-emergent herbicides, but all herbicides really as just a tool to allow you to get ahead. So you think about it, you got two plants in your lawn right now, right? You got the grass you really want to have, and then you got these other plants that we just refer to as weeds because they're undesirable. The idea behind a herbicide is to injure and or kill the plant that we don't want, and that's going to allow the one that we do want to become the dominant, right? Become the alpha grass, the alpha plant in your lawn, which makes it more difficult for the weeds to come back into your lawn. So don't think of like post-emergent herbicides as something that, it's like something you're spraying every month. Really, once you get your program dialed in, it should be a couple times a year, if that. And your mowing and your nutrient program is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting along with your pre-emergent for keeping the weeds out of your lawn. So hope that helps. Let me take you back here. So we covered weed control. So we did that. That was thing one. Kind of a long-winded answer, but I want to make sure you were taken care of. And then if we go back to here and go back to our infographic. So we've taken care of weeds. The next step, as far as your nutrient program is to to conduct a soil test, because one of the most common questions I get, it's probably neck and neck with, what weed is this in my lawn and how do I get rid of it, is what fertilizer should I use in my lawn? And the best way, the absolute best way to know the answer of what fertilizer is best to use in your lawn is by doing a soil test. Now, the soil test that I recommend is this one, the one from My Soil. They're really easy. We carry them on the Golf Course Lawn Store. They're super easy to use. There's a video in the description for all 3 versions of this that show you how to use it. You mail it out. Within a week, you're going to get your results via email, along with recommendations, and then you're good to go. And some people will ask, well, why do I need to do a soil test? Why is that important? Well, if you think about it this way, right? If you're really trying to take an approach to your lawn care program that is based on data, that's based on trying to do things as optimally as possible, it's really tough to figure out what fertilizer is the best fit for your soil without knowing what deficiencies there are in your soil. For example, a good example, and this will kind of help drive the point home. If you were sick, right? Like right now, your lawn doesn't look great based on what you're telling me. If you were sick, you weren't feeling well, you couldn't exactly know what was going on. You went to the doctor, right? You filled out your insurance form, you gave them your ID, you give them your symptoms, like I'm just feeling kind of off, and you're sitting down in the lobby. And then, they take your paperwork back, a nurse or a doctor, whoever comes out, and they say, Mr. Henry, here's your prescription, go to your nearest pharmacy that you like and get that filled. You look at them like they were crazy, right? You'd be like, you haven't done any studies, you haven't done blood work, you haven't checked my blood pressure, you don't know what's my weight, you've even spoken to me. You haven't said anything to me, and you give me a prescription. That's what going to like one of the big box stores or going anywhere and just buying fertilizer and putting it on your lawn without a soil test kit is like. It's like you're guessing. You know what I mean? And sometimes you guess right, and sometimes you don't guess right. So having the data that comes from a soil test, which again, they're not that expensive, they're like $30, is one of the best investments you can make into your lawn care program, because it's going to answer the question of what is missing, what are the deficiencies in my soil, and then you can go out and purchase the appropriate products to apply to your lawn. And I'm a believer that great grass is a byproduct of amazing soil. So if you want a great looking lawn, you want your grass to be green and vibrant and look its best, then focus on just creating great soil, because it's practically impossible to not have a great lawn if your soil is in great shape. All right, so we got rid of the weeds. We got a soil test. We are fertilizing our lawn based on our soil test results, right? So we went to the doctor, we got our studies done, we got our results. We went out and picked out our products for that we need to correct the situation, our amendments based on the soil our results, and then you apply them to your lawn. And then comes the thing that is the easiest to do, but also the hardest to do, which is mowing. You mow, and mow some more, and then the byproduct is an amazing lawn. So the thing that I'd say that most people have issues with, right, or are not consistent with, is the mowing part. Because like fertilizing your lawn, it's always fun, right? You get there, you put a fertilizer down, it's great. It's not that hard to do. You do it a couple times a month, if that, and then you're fine, right? Spraying weeds or spraying herbicides, also like you feel like you're doing something, which is also, something you don't do that often. But getting a great lawn, it takes consistency and hard work. Like the biggest difference between, your lawn as it sits now and a golf course, like in your city, I'm sure there's a golf course somewhere, between your lawn and the turf that's on a golf course. I mean, the nutrient program is one thing, but really it's mowing. Like they mow the property. They mow the properties much more than most homeowners mow their lawn. If most people did nothing else but just mow their lawn more frequently, it would look better. But the thing that brings it all together, we've controlled the weeds. We're fertilizing our lawn with a good nutrient program, and then when we start mowing regularly, it all comes together, and you just get a lawn that's impossible to match among your neighbors who's not doing all the stuff that you're doing, right? So as far as how to get your lawn going, that's what I'd recommend. We have tons of content on the Golf Course Lawn Store under our blog. So if you go to resources and blog, you've got everything from different diseases. Like the one this week was on how to get rid of rust disease in your lawn, mulching versus raking leaves, how to get rid of nutsedge, insect issues. So there's content here that covers all these various topics. And I personally work on each and every one of these. So I'm really proud of the work that goes into them. And I think you guys would get a lot of value out of it. As far as a calendar or like what do I do every month? If you go to resources and then lawn care schedule, and then you click on option 5, which is the monthly application calendar. right here, this will take you to our month-by-month breakdown of what I recommend folks do in March, April, all the way through the year into November. This applies to both cool season and warm season turf grass. The only differences you might make is you'll see here for the fall in September, I mentioned Spectacle Flow for warm season grass, and then for cool season grass, I say prodiamine. And then also another thing you'll have to adjust is if you have cool season turf grass, you guys don't typically scalp your lawns. So in the spring for February, you'll see that's listed as optional. But everything else here is grass agnostic. It doesn't really matter whether you have cool season grass, warm season grass, like this all applies. And once you've got that all figured out, if you're looking to figure out like how much of what product you need, got you covered there as well too. If you go to the home page and you click on Get Started, we've got a fertilization calculator, like a bundle builder calculator, which you can simply enter like how big your lawn is, and it will ask you the next question, which is, do you have warm season grass or cool season grass? Based on that, it will make a recommendation for you as far as products that you would apply to your lawn, and based on the size of how much you need. So there you go. So you got everything you need as far as blog posts, calculators. You have all the tools, and hopefully that's everything you need to be able to get a great result with your lawn care program. Let me give you the links as well to where you can pick up the different spray tips if you don't have those already. So this is the foliar spray tip, which is for your post-emergent herbicides, liquid fertilizers, growth regulators, all that fun stuff. And then for your pre-emergent fungicides, insecticides, your large droplet spray tip, which is your flood jet tip. There you go. So I hope that helps, Roger. I know it was a long-winded answer, but your question gave me like a segue into what I wanted to talk about tonight anyway. So I figured, why not, right? Why not? Okay, moving on. We have Josh Keller. He says, I got Essential G and the fertilizer you told me to get. Should I start putting down immediately or wait? You can put them down immediately, Josh. So Essential G and like a granular fertilizer, you can do them, like, for example, whenever I do mine, which I'll be doing Essential G this weekend because it's about to be September, I will do Essential G and then I'll do a granular fertilizer right after it on the same day, because one is about improving soil quality and the other is about feeding the soil, right? It's about adding NPK, or in my case, N and K, to my soil, right? So the two of them, you can apply them at the same day. There's no issue with that. As far as, long short of you can do that. And I'm also going to send you a short video here, because a common question I have is, if I'm going to do all this stuff on one day, like what order should I do them in? Because that just seems that's really confusing. So I've got a short video on this topic from last year that talks about what order to apply lawn care products. So say you're putting down granular products, liquid products, and maybe you're even putting down an insecticide or something, right? Or whatever. This short video, less than a minute, will get you all squared away on that. So hope that helps. What order to apply products. All right. I got to speed up. I've been talking too much. All right. Let's see if we have anything here from the folks on the gram. D-Man says, love your content. I need to start over on my lawn in St. Augustine is dead. Live in Florida. Need to level and start over. Willing to change to different grass. What are your suggestions? Depends. Like, I mean, Bermuda or zoysia. With you living in Florida, either Bermuda grass or zoysia grass. Zoysia probably going to be easier. There's some neighborhoods where they don't want you putting Bermuda in, so I'd say zoysia. All right, moving on, we have True Gator Fan. He says, happy Friday, Ron. I'm excited about some new equipment. I got my Ryobi 40-volt backpack sprayer as a starter sprayer. Nice. I will try it out with some biostims to get used to it before trying pre-emergent. Very, very cool, True Gator Fan. When it comes to backpack sprayers, I am a fan of the sprayer that we carry, the one from Yard Mastery. Great sprayer, high quality. But really, when it comes to sprayers, it really is the Indian more so than the Arrow. So a high quality sprayer, what it really buys you is just lower hassle factor. Like, it's always going to work. It's going to come with everything you need. So the build quality is going to be better. It's going to run longer. That's really what you're paying for. But as far as you getting a good result, I could use a $20 sprayer and get the same results that I get with a much more expensive sprayer. It's just going to be a lot less convenient to do so. So it's really more what you're talking about, getting used to using the new sprayer, calibrating it, knowing how your particular sprayer is going to work, how it puts out product. And as long as you do that, you're going to be good to go. So congrats on the new equipment. We'll give you some claps for that. Use it in good health. All right, next up we got Mr. Paul Stevens. He says, hello from Sydney, Australia. What's going on, Paul from Sydney, from down under? Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming to hang out. And then next up we have Stephen Wynn. He says, hey everyone, happy Friday. Hit that like button, y'all. I remember someone asked before, but I can't remember what you said. How often do you use pre-emergent? Where do you get dithiopyr granular? Great question, Stephen. So pre-emergent twice per year is what I find is what I need to works well for me. In the spring, before soil temps, the average soil temperature is in the mid 50s. In the fall, before the average soil temps is in the mid 60s, going cooler. So what I tend to do in the fall, which is where we are now, is whenever soil temps are in the low 70s and going cooler, I will apply my pre-emergent. This weekend is when I'll be putting out my pre-emergent. So typically the last week of August, early September is when I get my pre-emergent out. That's worked really well for me. And as far as where you can find dithiopyr on the Golf Course Lawn Store, if you go to shop, weed killer, and then pre-emergent, you will find it right here. Dimension is just a brand name for dithiopyr, but the active ingredient in this product is dithiopyr. All right, so there you go, 0.15% dithiopyr. So hopefully that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know, and I will link it for you in the chat just because I like you, Stephen. I'm going to make sure that you don't have to go click around and find stuff. It's going to be right there for you. You'll be good to go. All right. All right, Stephen Wynn, Dimension. All right. We got Aesthetic Lawn. It says, good evening, Ron. What's going on, Aesthetic? So this is one of the viewers that sent me some pictures of their lawn. So if you guys remember, maybe a month or two ago, maybe a little longer than that, we had a viewer that was growing a new lawn, a new zoysia lawn from seed. He went through and did all the preparation work, and then he showed his results, and the lawn was growing in really nicely. And then today, before the live stream, he sent me some updated pictures of how the lawn looks. And absolutely, you know what? I'm gonna let the pictures speak for themselves. I don't want to oversell it, but I don't care who you are. That's a good looking stand of turf grass. I mean, you can see the stripes are on point. He's real mowing it, looking really, really good, really nice, vibrant green. Love that. Vanity strips looking good. Stripes look like you're doing double wides, man. Those look clean, fresh and clean. Very nice. Yeah, very nice color. And this lawn that you're looking at is 84 days old. 84 days. So from the time he did the preparation work and seeding to what you are seeing right now is 84 days. And, you know, I gloss over the whole preparation part, but really, I wish I could find the pictures of it, but he did an amazing job. Like, he raked out everything. It was nice and flat. He put out some carbonized PN to help aid germination. And the lawn just lit off and grew in really nicely. Again, for 84 days for a zoysia lawn, no less. That's pretty incredible. Looks really good, man. Great work. Great work, Aesthetic. Keep going. It's only going to get better with time. So this season, again, you got it established. Next year, it's going to be even that much better. So keep it up. Great work. All right, next up is Mr. Jackie Bear. He says, evening, Brother Ron. Have an excellent stream, sir. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Absolutely, guys. You know, guys, we got over 100 people in the live stream, only 62 likes. Now, I don't want to say only 62 because the 62 of you guys that have already hit the like button, that understand the way this works, I appreciate you. But for those of you that are coming in, perhaps this is your first time here, I know you're all excited, talk about lawn care on a Friday night, and you forgot to hit that like button on the way in, you can do that now. You can just simply move your mouse over, touch that like button ever so gently, and I'd really, really, really appreciate it. I'll put some intermission music on for you. I have a sip of my, what am I drinking tonight? It's Arnold Palmer, some watermelon and ginger, like a mix, a blend of stuff. So yeah, hit that like button. Costs you absolutely nothing while I look for the next comment. Oh, all right. Let's see here. All right, next up we have Mr. Jason Harrison. He says, last cut in the 90 plus degrees in. Humic max and liquids down tomorrow. Yes. Spectacle flow and pillar. I'm seeing too many spots in the morning. I guess dollar spot. on Sunday before the rains are predicted. Let's close the season strong. I like it. Very, very cool, Jason. Getting your spectacle done, getting your it's beginning of the month. So Jason's in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, and really, as far as what I teach and recommend is a spoon feeding program, which means in the beginning of the month, you do your granular fertilizer and liquids at low rates. And in the 15th, you spray just liquids again at low rates. And he's doing that. And this time around, this weekend, he's also putting out pre-emergent because it's tis the time of year for pre-emergent. So great job on that, Jason. Appreciate you chiming in and letting folks know what you are up to. And, speaking of rain, I almost wish I'd done my pre-emergent today because this is what happened. I mean, we haven't had this in Georgia for several weeks, but this is literally an hour or so before the live stream. Look what I was working with, guys. I mean, you can even see the color of the lawn. It doesn't look that great because no rain, but look at that. It's coming down nice and heavy. And yeah, you can see how dry. Look, if you look out by the fence, you can see how dry the lawn is. And this is still with me watering 3 times per week. So watering Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's still not enough really given the kind of temperatures we've been having without rainfall. So, oh well, such is life. All right, next up is Colin. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hope your Friday has been well. Ready for some good turf talk." I'll do my best, Colin. And I did get your email, and I did respond to it. I saw you sent me a follow up. I'll check it up. I'll check it out after the show, and I'll give you some more thoughts on it. But yeah, as far as getting monetized on YouTube, as long as you meet all the requirements, I think it's still 4,000 hours, 1,000 subscribers. I think you have to have your AdSense account done, all that kind of stuff. As long as all that's done, it really shouldn't be as long as there's nothing weird with the account. That's another thing too, because they look at like if the views look like they were botted or whatever, like that will hold it up. But I mean, as long as nothing weird is going on, it really shouldn't be a problem. But I'll take a look at your email once I get off the show. That guy has entered the live stream, Mr. Robert Rainey, saying, "Good evening, all. What's going on, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well." Robert, it's about to be football time, man. It's about to be college football. I mean, while I like you, we're going to have to kind of, yeah, I'm sure. I don't think you ever told me who your football team is. I'm going to guess one of those. I'm going to guess probably the, what is her name? I don't know, Nick Saban's old team. I forget, I forget what are they called? They were like that maroonish color, whatever. It's not the Bulldogs. I know that. But it's about to be that time of year. I know Devon's is a Alabama fan, so whatever. All right, Dylan Krause is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Football is here. Boomer Sooner." You're one of those Oklahoma people too. One of the guys I train at karate with is a huge Oklahoma fan. But yeah, I get it. Next up is Jian Ding says, "Happy Friday." Happy Friday. And then next is Anthony Velez says, "Bring some rain to Arizona. We need it, man. Listen, here in Georgia, we just got a little bit. We got a little taste of rain. And it's already, looking at the patio, it's already dried out. It's didn't even really sit. It wasn't like a really long rainfall. It was heavy, but it wasn't very long. So I don't really have any to send your way as yet." Robert Thomas says, "Evening, gang. Man, all you guys with terrible taste in football teams. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it." And then next up, we got Jackie Bear saying, "Smash the like." What's going on, Jackie? And then next up is Flipmaster Fine says, "What's up, Big Ron? What part of Georgia are you in? Because I have a bone to pick with you Georgians." Well, if you got to pick with all Georgians, I mean, you can find anybody. I'm in Northeast Georgia. This is where part of the area that I hail from. But what bone to pick? What do we ever do? Georgia, we are some of the nicest folks in the country. I mean, we're good people, especially once outside of, especially like more rural areas. We're good folk, man. Quiet, don't mess with anybody, just like our football, pretty easy going. I can't imagine what bone you'd pick to have, bone you have to pick with us. Anyway, Oliver is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Getting my mow on tonight. Have a good stream." I appreciate it, Oliver. Very, very cool. Getting your mow done. I'm not going to hate on you for that. It's really important. This is good. Thomas Sanders is up next. He says, "So glad I caught you live. Hey from Alabama. 38,000 square feet of centipede with a doveweed infestation. Help, Jesus, take the wheel." Celsius after 2 rounds isn't doing it. Yeah. So doveweed is a tough one to control. The Celsius will control doveweed, Thomas. At the higher rates, it may take another. One application is not going to get it done. Is what I'm trying to say. Probably one of the better regarded herbicides for doveweed is a product called Blindside. I don't know how centipede tolerates it though. You'd have to do some research into that as far as how well centipede would tolerate that particular herbicide. But for doveweed in particular, it's a bit better than Celsius is. Celsius is just good because it's highly unlikely to damage your centipede while it's controlling the doveweed in your lawn, but it does take a couple of rounds of it to really get rid of it. So look into a herbicide called Blindside. That would be my next step. But again, make sure double check that it is triple check that it's safe for use on your centipede grass, that it actually tolerates it pretty well. To help you out, I'll send you a link here to where you can pick it up. Again, not necessarily the cheapest stuff, but I mean, if all you care about is doveweed or Virginia buttonweed, I mean, Blindside I believe is a better product for those options, for those guys. But just be careful with it. All right, so hope that helps, sir, and just keep at it. It can get better. I know it's tough. 38,000 square feet sounds like a big property. It's just a lot to take care of, so just keep going. All right, Instagram user, I got your question. Yeah, so as far as you starting over with a new lawn, if you're gonna get rid of St. Augustine, I guess first of all, just make sure you can change grasses. Like I know there's some neighborhoods where Bermuda grass, they really don't want that in there. So assuming Bermuda is permitted, you could consider that, or zoysia. Bermuda or zoysia would be great choices for Florida. Which one is better? Really depends on which one suits your eye better. You can go with like if you pick up a thicker blade. If you like how St. Augustine looks, but you want like a thicker blade zoysia, you could go with something like Compadre or El Toro. Those are like a thicker blade zoysia grass that looks kind of like St. Augustine, not quite, but I mean, it looks more like St. Augustine than it does like a finer blade zoysia. And the nice thing about Compadre and El Toro is that it's green, like the leaf of the plant is green lower. So if you missed a mow or two, you're not going to cut a lot of color off the lawn if you're a little bit late on your mowing. So it's a nice option for that particular grass, and it does look. It's like if you could think of a fine blade St. Augustine, that's what I think about whenever I see El Toro or Compadre. So look into those as options, and then for Bermuda, Tifway, if you got, depending on your budget, looking at Tifway 419, can't go wrong with that. Tahoma 31, Celebration, all great options. It just really depends on which one suits your eye more. Okay, next up is Flipmaster Finds. He says, I'm currently working in Atlanta, and the soil here is by far superior, and the Bermuda here is a million times better. You guys are so lucky. Well, it is Georgia. I mean, we do have this small little property called, Augusta National down there, where they grow some of the best turf grass on the planet. So I would agree with that in Atlanta and Georgia in general, anyway, we have pretty good soil for growing turf grass. Some people would complain and say we got this hard red clay, but in Georgia we have some pretty good lawns. I would agree with that. Say if you were comparing Georgia to say most of Arizona, then yeah, we're probably better suited for an amazing lawn than Arizona is because of temperature and soil type and this type of thing. But there's certainly places that are as good or better. So glad that you find our grass and our soil to be awesome, Flipmaster. All right, next up is Mr. Judkins. He says, hey, Ron, the last few weeks I've had a lot of spurge pop up. Is this due to my spring pre-emergent running out? More than likely, yeah, because your pre-emergent starting to fall off at this point. Should I do or have done something different to prevent too hot for Celsius down in San Antonio, Texas? No, not really. I mean, you could have done a pre-emergent app, I guess, 4 months after your first one, but if you're getting a small amount of breakthrough right before you're about to do your next pre-emergent app, which is like now, I'd still consider that a win, Justin. I really wouldn't be too concerned about that. I too am getting some spurge, primarily in the flower beds, like where I don't have, it's mainly just mulch. There's not really grass there, and along the edges of the lawn, like where I edge, that's where I'm seeing some spurge. But for the most part, throughout the rest of the lawn, I'm good to go. So I really wouldn't I really wouldn't sweat it too much. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go out and do anything too drastic. Again, you should be putting out a fall pre-emergent here pretty soon, which will do a good job of preventing more from growing in. So worst case, again, you could use something like Celsius that will clean it up. I'm not sure what kind of temperatures you guys are having, but Celsius would be a good choice for cleaning up spurge in your lawn if you're concerned about temperature. But no, you didn't do anything wrong. Sounds like you are just you're in just it's been months. It's been several months since your spring pre-emergent. All right, next up is Dalen Krause. He says, this summer has been somewhat tough. Isn't that the truth? Equipment going down one after another, really dry year. Hopefully I can go into next summer with some better luck, still dominate all my neighbors. Yeah, man. So if you're still the top among everyone on your street, you're still winning. It may not look as awesome as you want, but it's really tough when you're not getting regular rainfall. So such is life. Dalen, just keep going, man. Next year will be better. Next year will be better. And then Instagram users back says grass is dead, but they're still in most spots. Will change if you suggest a better grass. So here's the thing: I would only go through and do a renovation project if you truly don't like your existing lawn and you just want something different. But as far as like you've got some dead spots or dry spots in your lawn and you just want to go through and do a new lawn, in other words, here's what it takes to do a renovation properly. Like, to do it correctly, you're going to want to get rid of your existing grass, which means you're going to use like a non-selective herbicide like glyphosate and then spray your existing lawn, kill that off. Depending on how thick it is, you may go through and rake and get some of that old debris out. And then you're good to either sod, which I'd recommend because that's easier way to establish a new lawn, or put out grass seed. And then once you do that, you've got to water and wait for the lawn to establish and grow in. So it's not an easy thing. It's not like it's frankly easier to save an existing lawn than it is in most cases to do a renovation and start over. Because another thing you have to consider too is even though you kill off your existing lawn to try and do the renovation, you are likely going to have a little bit of breakthrough of the old grass into the new lawn. So you want to make sure you plan accordingly that if, let's say you have St. Augustine, which is actually a pretty good choice for renovation because there's a lot of different ways to kill St. Augustine and not harm Bermuda or zoysia in the process. But let's say you had St. Augustine, right? You went through that process, you got rid of it, you put in a zoysia lawn, and then you get some breaking through, then you still have to go out there with like a post-emergent herbicide like quinclorac to get rid of the St. Augustine now in your zoysia lawn. So it's not as easy, and it's not without growing pains as most people would lead you to believe. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and it's not like you're not going to have to spend some time fully getting rid of the old grass that you had before. So unless you really just dislike your existing lawn, I would work just to save it. I would just walk down. I would control get rid of the existing weeds in your lawn, start feeding it, start regularly mowing it, and you'd be surprised how quickly a lawn can turn around and recover if you just start giving it some TLC. So I'd only really get rid of your lawn if you really don't like your existing one and you want to go to something else. All right, Evan Dianfrio says, question on Instagram, but I switched over here for better quality. Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Instagram. I think I'm freezing. Yeah, I'm looking at myself. I'm making a weird face on Instagram, so I don't know. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. I'm Evan. Colin C. Pims just came back in. He says, I just replied back to your email as well, Ron. I appreciate it. No worries at all. I will look at your reply and I will get you an answer on the live stream this evening. You know what? I'm gonna text myself. That's how when I need to remember things. I send a text message to myself. So I'll look at my phone and be like, oh, I got to reply to Colin. So let me do that right now. So I got notes to do that. Okay. Next up is Mr. Anthony Perez. He says, hey, Ron, I had a service level my lawn, and it went bad. They put down about 4 inches of sandy loam, and my yard is hard as a rock. Should I aerate to loosen everything up? I'm in Arizona. It's 110 degrees still. Yeah, I mean, if they put 4 inches of material, man, good Lord, that's a lot. So yeah, if it's hard, yeah, I mean, aeration will help with that. Why do they put down 4 inches of material? That seems like a lot, Anthony. I'm not sure why they would do that. It's not like, even for a service, it's not exactly cost effective either. So yeah, I mean, aerate it, do whatever you need to break that up and get some airflow and just get the lawn, try jumpstarting the lawn, because I mean 4 inches, that definitely is going to be smothering your grass. I'd be surprised if the grass has even grown through that as yet. So sorry you're dealing with that, but aeration and time, and your lawn should come back. Time fixes a lot of things. All right, Jimmy Miller's up next. This evening, Ron. After 3 to 4 attempts to try and get my hands on the Revolution 26, I finally got my hands on it. Short demo, but it is truly a beast. I would agree. With that. And Jimmy, I got the pictures from you. You said, I know you're working on your lawn. You had your mowers go down. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to show you these pictures. Jimmy's had a really bad string of luck here as far as mowers. He had his John Deere that died. He had another mower that also died. So he hasn't been able to really mow well. I think he's back on his rotary mower. It's been really dry, so the lawn has not been looking his best. You can see there, it's on the struggle bus. It's on the struggle bus. But yeah, that's the combination of dry and it looks like just not getting mowed at least as much. Now this section here, we see all the bare areas. From what I hear from him, he had some Bradford pear trees, and he had to get rid of those. So he's just going to give it time to let the grass to fill in those areas. But yeah, I agree with you, Jimmy. Revolution is quite a nice bit of kit. And if you get your hands to play with one, actually, if you guys are going to be, any of you are in Georgia or in the Southeast and you got time middle of September, the Real Rollers is hosting the Turf Park Party on Saturday. It's on a Saturday. I'll tell you which Saturday it is. It is Saturday the 14th, I believe. Saturday the 14th. Yeah, they're going to be, they'll have Revolutions out there for you to play with. They'll have other types of mowers, greens mowers. I think Elise told me he's getting a greens mower, so folks can use that as well too. So he's gonna have a bit of everything for you guys to be able to sample and just hang out and chat about lawns, and it's gonna be a great time. So, assuming you're in Georgia or nearby, feel free to stop on in. I will be there. Should be a lot of fun. All right. Next up is Mars Bees. Let's see here. Mars Bees up next. It says, I've been working all summer getting the lawn ready for overseeding, and one area starting the lawn from dirt. Lawn was in bad shape, lots of different weeds. Continued in the next section. Lawn was in bad shape. Okay, so you were planting, you overseeded in one area, started from dirt, and he says, is it still too hot to throw down seed in Middle Tennessee, tall fescue? Thanks. Yeah, I would give it a couple more weeks. If the temperatures are still really hot, like if you still have days that are higher than 85 degrees and you still got a lot of that in the forecast, give it a few more weeks, Mars Beads, and then it should start cooling off quite a bit. So September, over the next couple of weeks, say mid-September, you should be in a much better position to go ahead and do that. The problem is that just all the heat that we've had this year and not a lot of rain has really caused the lawns to struggle. So in many cases, it's not that you're really doing anything wrong. It's just that, Mother Nature hasn't been cooperating as far as giving us rainfall. And there's not a whole lot you can do about that, unfortunately. You can water, you can use moisture managers, which it does help, but you still need rainfall. Brian Tanner is up next. He says, happy Friday. I put down my spectacle right before the rain here in Georgia this afternoon. A little early is better than late. Very nice, Brian. Great job of getting that done. I wish I had done the same thing. Here's the thing, Brian. It's crazy. There was no rain in the forecast. At least when I was looking at my phone, there's none. There's no rain. And yet we had more than enough rain to water in pre-emergent. So I wish I'd done mine. So I'll just have to apply it and run my irrigation after I'm done, I guess. Such is life. Okay, Steve is up next. He says, I just put down Dimension in mid-August. What's my time for putting down Prodiamine and Spectacle Flow down? Which first and when? Okay, so if you just did Dimension in August, I wouldn't be too quick to do another pre-emergent just yet, Steve. What I would say is if you wanted to do, so August, September, I'd say the end of October, early November. If you wanted to do Spectacle then, that would be okay. I'm just trying to avoid you causing potential damage to the roots by putting out too much pre-emergent, because dimensions are pre-emergent and Spectacle Flow is also pre-emergent. And then really I would not do Prodiamine. So it's like you're talking about using Spectacle Flow and Prodiamine. I wouldn't do that. I would use one or the other. Really for the fall, Spectacle flow is all you really need. Like I would do spectacle flow as far as pre-emergent goes. That's all I would really use. If you wanted to use a post-emergent, maybe have some poa annua already in your lawn, you want to clean that up, like that would be appropriate. But there's really not a whole lot of need to stack other pre-emergents along with spectacle. I haven't seen the need to do that. Certainly not prodiamine or dimension. So hope that helps. I would, in your case, I would give it until late October, early November before I would consider doing another pre-emergent, given that you've already done one this month. So hope that helps. Good question. Good question. So, pre-emergent is important, but also not too much. Not you don't want to go too overboard with it. Jason said, for what it's worth, Spectacle Flow bottle isn't cheap, but per app is cheaper than a bag of Barricade for me. That is true. Absolutely worth it. Split with a neighbor and prevent weeds in their yard, which helps your yard as well. I like where you're thinking there, Jason. That's a really good point. So it is, that's a really good point. So it does keep weeds out of your lawn and also your neighbor's lawn, and you guys kind of help each other out. And to your point, a bottle covers like 3 acres. So if you have someone to split it with, it really does make the cost go down. And as far as a pre-emergent for as far as a fall pre-emergent, great product. I really, for what I've tested anyway, it doesn't get much better than Spectacle. All right, Colin's up next. He says, would it be worth applying any iron going into fall, winter with warm season grass to help kind of keep some color? Or do you think it's not worth it? Something I thought about, but I don't know. So here's the thing. I don't apply iron by itself. Like some folks will use a product called Ironite. I've never used that on my lawn because pretty much between the liquid products that I use that have iron in them or the granular fertilizers that I use that have iron in them, I don't really need to add a strictly iron product. So I'm inclined to say no. And if whatever fertilizer you're using, if you're using like a liquid fertilizer like our 22-3 that we offer on the Golf Course Lawn Store, that would be a great choice. It's got iron in it. Our micronutrient also has some iron in it. So either one of these, either the 22-3 with iron or the micronutrient with 2% iron, either one of those would be nice for a good pop of color. But iron, doing like an iron app in of itself isn't going to prevent the lawn from going dormant. It's not going to really, it's not going to make the lawn hold on to the green that much longer. You see what I'm saying? Like when it's ready to go dormant, it's just going to go dormant. So to answer your question, no, I wouldn't do an iron product by itself. I would get it along with any other fertilizer that I'm putting out at that time. All right. So great question, Colin. I appreciate that. And again, if you need anything else, let me know. But yeah, just fertilize like you normally would. And if you're using the products that we carry on the Golf Course Lawn Store, you're using a balanced nutrient program, the fertilizers that you're putting out, one or multiple of them will have iron in it. And that's really should be all you need. Gary Freeman's up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron, and hashtag Shop Action Gang. What's going on, Gary? Hopefully you're doing all right. And then the Trilla from Manila is up next. He says, hey, Ron, and happy Friday and early Labor Day to everyone. Yeah, man. Happy early Labor Day weekend. Hopefully you guys got some plans to get out there and do something fun in the lawn. 'Tis the beginning of September. So if you're in the Golf Course Land Academy or you're doing the spoon feeding program that I recommend, then you know what you're going to be doing. Be out there putting out your fertilizer, your growth regulator, all that stuff. It's a busy time the first part of the month. And then next up is Higgy Pop. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. I picked up a product called Feature 600 to help give a pop of green. What are your thoughts on the product? I've never used it personally, Higgy. I've heard, but you're not the only person that's ever mentioned it to me. I've never used it personally to know how well it works. I imagine it would be fine. I mean, it's an iron product, so it should be fine. I can't really say. The closest product that I can think of that I've used that, again, I don't know if you can even get it anymore, is a product called Brant Supreme Green that I used to use probably 6 years ago at this point. And that was a higher iron product, and it did produce a nice pop of color. But yeah, I've not used that one in particular. But I imagine it should be fine. I'd say just stick to the label rates. And if you're applying anything else with iron, make sure that between that product and anything else you're applying with iron that you're not overdoing it. Because what will happen is if you overdo it, the lawn's going to get really vibrant, beautiful, dark, rich green. And then shortly thereafter, a day or two later, it's going to turn like a grayish, purplish color. So too much iron is not good. Like you're gonna get a result that you're not gonna like by doing that. So I'd say be careful if you're gonna use that. Don't overdo it. All right, next up is Eddie A. He says, I'm not doing well. The nut sedge is in my Bermuda grass. I've used Celsius and Tenacity. The only thing I haven't used is Sedge Hammer. Okay, so a couple things, Eddie. For Bermuda lawn, we would not want to use Tenacity. You'd want to use, so like Celsius would be safe for Bermuda. Tenacity is not. Neither of them are a good option for sedges. Your best option for sedges on a Bermuda lawn is a product called Certainty, is this. This is what I would use on a Bermuda lawn for controlling sedges. And as far as which sedges, all of them. Like it takes care of all of them. So don't use Celsius if you're Celsius is a broadleaf herbicide, so it's not really. While I think they do list like a couple of sedges on the label. I mean, it's not very good for that. So I would use Certainty. Like this is the stuff you need to use for controlling sedges in your lawn. So if you go to shop and go to weed killer, what you want is this. So you can use Celsius, but you can use Certainty by itself, or you can use a kit that has Certainty, dye, and surfactant. And this is the trifecta, what you need to really get the best results when using that in your lawn. And it's for sedges, poa annua, other grassy weeds. That is what I recommend. Sedge Hammer will also work. It's just a lot slower. And the only time I would really use Sedge Hammer for sedge control is if I have a cool season lawn, because you can't use Certainty on cool season turf grass, but Sedge Hammer will work on both. But it's much slower than Certainty, and it also doesn't control as many weeds as Certainty does. So in my opinion, while both of these will work for sedges, this controls more than this does, and this works faster than this does. So for warm season turf grass, use Certainty. And I sent you a link there in the chat, so you should be all squared away to get what you need. But and then Tenacity, take that bottle of Tenacity. While we like Tenacity, as long as you got your Bermuda lawn, you can take the bottle of Tenacity, you can give it a good shake. You can find a nice shelf in your garage, and you can put it on the shelf and just leave it there and never take it down. Or if you got family like up north, or someone with a centipede lawn that has like some crabgrass in it, you want to gift them something, you can take the bottle of Tenacity and mail it to them. But do not use this on your Bermuda lawn. It's not labeled for use on Bermuda, and it will damage it. So don't use Tenacity on warm season turf grass. Okay. Next up is Higgy Pop. He says, let's all hit the like button. It's free. Let's do that, guys. We're getting there. We got 117 people in the live stream, 88 likes. Let's bring the likes up. It costs absolutely nothing. Just hit that like button. It's free. Sends good vibes to YouTube. Gets more folks coming in here. Really would appreciate it. Ted Rogers, Mr. Fescue Lawn, is up next. Man, look at you, Ted. I remember when you were going from, I can see your avatar. I'm not sure if that's coming through for you guys. Look at Ted's avatar. If I can blow this, make this bigger. Blow this up. I don't think I can. But look at my man. Look at the stripes in his avatar. See there? So Ted is an interesting story because Ted went through all the phases of a lawn renovation. You know what? If you want, any of you guys are planning on a lawn renovation, talk to Ted, because he was like super happy, was like wondering, why'd I do this? Questioning his life decisions. Rainfall came and washed the lawn out. So he was thinking this is not going to happen. So he's went through all the different phases of a lawn renovation project. So he can tell you from firsthand experience what you're signing up for if you decide to do that. Having said all that, his lawn looks incredible. So if you keep doing the work, it does pay off. But as far as, someone with a lot of direct experience renovating a lawn and experiencing, I won't say everything bad that can happen, but you went through some stuff, and he can definitely help you with that. So, all right, Jimmy Miller is up next. He says, Ron, I would like to get your thoughts and your viewers' thoughts on the purchase of a used reel mower. I need a reel mower that is pretty much idiot-proof. I mean, okay, yeah, so used reel mower. It's like a used anything else. You want to inspect it. You want to make sure that it is in good shape, like the engine's in good shape. The reel and bed knife are in good shape. There's no nicks, no damage. The belts are in good shape. Yeah, I mean, if a reel mower that's been taken care of, I would not really be too concerned about purchasing a pre-owned one. having said that, if you're someone that takes really good care of your stuff and you want to you have the money to invest in a new one, that is the way that I would go, because then that the oils are has always been changed by someone that was taking care of it. You know that you got a fresh reel, fresh bed knife, everything's in good shape. But you can save a lot of money by going to a pre-owned mower, especially if you're buying a greens mower. Like if I were going to buy a greens mower like a John Deere or a Toro, those absolutely you would buy pre-owned, because they're commercial pieces of equipment. I mean, unless they've been abused, they tend to run really well. When you start getting into your consumer or like semi-commercial grade mowers, like your True Cuts, McLean trimmers, those can also be okay too. But do make sure that you check them out and make sure they're in good shape. Of the pre-owned mowers, or of the mowers that I've been mentioning, the ones that I would currently avoid personally, it would be like True Cut, and that's only because getting parts for them has become a lot more difficult in recent last year or so. Still a great mower, it's just difficult to get parts for it. So that's one of the things I always tell folks whenever they ask me what mower should I buy. I'm like, well, one, who can fix it or service it in your area, and can you get parts for it? And if it doesn't check both those boxes, I would stay away. But trimmer, McLean, greens mowers are also great options. The new Revolution, excellent option. Again, for the money, you really can't do much better than that. I mean, it's a really good mower given what you pay for it. So yeah, like anything else, the same thing applies to a used car or a pre-owned car. Make sure you inspect it. Make sure it's in good shape. If it's in good shape, it can run for a long time. Like I've had, like my old car, I bought that with 30,000 miles on it, and it had 150,000 miles when I got rid of it, and it ran like a top. Is just oil and gas, and yeah, no, that was pretty much it. No, there's nothing ever really went wrong with that. So yeah, it's like anything else. Just make sure you inspect it, make sure it's in good shape. And you said, which one would work best, California trimmer or a McLean, given my physical size and shape of my lawn? Photos emailed earlier. Which would work better around either? Based on what you're showing, either of them would work fine. Any of them would work fine. The Revolution, in my opinion, would work better than both of those. Like, it's going to cut better, it's going to climb better. It's a newer mower. It's a newer mower, newer design, better technology. Overall, just a better mower. Out of a trimmer, McLean, I don't know, man. I mean, either one, whichever one is in better shape, I guess. Whichever one's in better shape. And you said the Revolution 26, waiting for the cartridge system. Yeah, it's gonna be a while, man. I don't know that Lee is. I mean, the cartridge system in 2026 is like that's I'd say it was optimistic, but that's not the priority right now. Like, they're gonna do a 20-inch mower, and obviously that they're gonna want to make sure it's refined and working well and getting that all squared away. And then is when they'll look at a cartridge system, or is what I'm saying. So I don't know that I would wait until 2026 just to get a cartridge mower. And even if you do, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap. I have no idea what he would price it at, but I imagine a cartridge mower, gas powered one. I mean, you're looking $4,000, 3,500 on the low end, like more like $4,000. On that, and that's just a mower and maybe just the cutting unit, and then you start buying all the add-ons and everything else. You can easily get $5,000-6,000 depending on what you buy with it. So it's going to be a lot more expensive. So just something to keep in mind. I mean, a lot of people are asking for a cartridge mower, but they're not inexpensive to purchase and then outfit. All right, next up is Alex Restano. He says, hey, Ron, work was crazy and the lawn was neglected for a bit. I scalped 2 weeks ago, saw army worms and treated with 2 apps of triazide, and the lawn came out great. Awesome. I'm trying to get the lawn mint before things wind down. I have brown spots that I fought all years. Picks, little black bugs seem prevalent in those areas. Are these the culprits or fungus? Thanks, Ron. Do I have pictures from you, Alex? Yeah, I don't know what those are. I'm not sure what those guys are. Yeah, so I mean, so to your point, the lawn has been neglected. You dealt with army worms, and I'm looking at these pictures, and I mean, I know that you look at your lawn, you see are the bad stuff in it, but I'm looking at these guys, and these pictures don't really look I'll put a picture of the bug you're talking about, but the grass doesn't look that bad. I mean, I see the brown. I mean, it's obviously the damage from the armyworms, but I mean, looks like it's recovering nicely to me. So this is the lawn. This is Alex's lawn. So that's picture one. I mean, there's more green there than brown, so that's good, especially given that it was just ravaged by armyworms. I think I would take that, you know. And then yeah, so another picture there, and then finally the little bug you're dealing with. I am not sure exactly what that is. Not sure what that is, Alex. And I wouldn't be too quick to blame them. I mean, could that be causing damage? Possibly, but I don't know. I mean, poor little guy's just like trying to live his life in the world, and now he's on YouTube. You put him on blast, man. You put the little guy on blast, and you're blaming him for all the ills and what's wrong on your lawn. You just said you had armyworms. Like the armyworms were the ones that came in there and like wrecked face, and now just one little guy's just out here just minding his own business, and you're pointing the blame at him. I mean, you know, he matters. He's okay. I mean, he could be the culprit, but I don't think so. Alex. I mean, again, looking at the pictures, the lawn doesn't look that bad. I mean, looking at that doesn't look that bad to me, given that the lawn just got a lot of damage from armyworms. So I would just say give it time. It should recover. Keep up with your mowing. It's gonna encourage a lot of new growth, and the lawn should bounce back just fine. I really wouldn't be too quick to go out and execute the poor little guy that's just out there just trying to mind his own business in the world. All right. Next up is Antoine Clacken. He says, "Happy Friday. Everyone hit the like button." Thank you so much, Antoine. Definitely do that. If you've not hit the like button, please do so. It's a free way to support the channel. You know what, guys? I think next week I'm going to go back to my other lens because Instagram is being ghetto, and that's the only reason why I'm using this one. And it's just not working well because I actually don't like this view as much as I like the previous one. So we're going to have to change it back. All right. Next up is, I don't think it's a disease problem either, Alex. You asked about that. I don't think so. I think it's just the damage from the armyworms, and the lawn just needs some time to recover. Andre Taylor is up next. He says, "Evening, Ron. Happy Friday. Tuning in after just mowing and now about to apply Essential G, the 1608, Humic Max, and Prodiamine. Tomorrow I'll spray PGR and the 22-3. I like it. So you're doing your granular Essential G, you're doing Humic Max, your fertilizer, and then you're spraying like a liquid product that needs to get in the soil. Logically, that makes sense afterwards. And then tomorrow, you're going to go out and do your foliar spray. So PGR, so Primo, and the 22-3. I like it. It's like a man with a plan. Someone's actually thought it through and said, you know what, this sequence makes sense to me. And I would agree with that. I would agree with that sequence. I like that. Good job, Andre. All right, Archie Amos says, "So happy you personalized the soil test. It amazes me the money so-called knowledgeable people will throw away guessing. To me, lawn is the crown of your home. The crown your home wears." I agree with that, Archie. The lawn is seen before the house. It is true. You know, especially these days, like everything's gotten more expensive. Like fertilizer is not cheap. You know, nothing is cheap these days. So why not ensure that what you're putting down is a fit for what your lawn needs? And you know, a lot of folks say, "Oh, why do you work on your lawn? Why do you want to keep it nice? Why does a nice lawn matter?" Here's the thing, and it's just human nature. If you drive by a home and the lawn is a mess, it's a foot long grass, and there's weeds all through it, without knowing anything else, what do you think about the house? You figure if the lawn looks like that, the house is probably like that, probably dirty, probably not taken care of. It might not be. It might be pristine inside, but your opinion of the lawn or of the house is shaped by what you see in the lawn. Now, conversely, if you see a lawn and it's manicured, looks good, edge, color looks great, you can tell this person puts a lot of time and energy into ensuring that their property looks sharp. What do you think about the house? You haven't seen inside, but you assume, you know what, they keep the lawn like this. I can't imagine how inside the house is. Again, you could be completely wrong, but like perception does shape reality, right? Like the way your lawn looks that carries over into other things. So I get your Archie. It definitely makes sense. I mean, soil test, I think, again, these guys, it's like the cheapest $30 you will spend, or the most valuable $30 you will spend in your lawn care program, because literally you will know, you won't be guessing, you will know that what you are putting into your soil is what your particular lawn needs. Not what your neighbor needs, not what the guys on some group on the internet say you need. It's what your particular soil, your particular lawn needs based on data. So that's why it's worth it. Even if you only do it one time, it's worth it. It's worth doing. So I agree with you, Archie. Next up is Aesthetic Lawn. He says, "Hey Ron, Arvin here from San Antonio, Texas. Received your email. Just a follow-up question to the email I sent earlier with the 84-seeded Zenith Zoysia project." Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to read the rest of his question, but sometimes I have to point out whenever people are putting out a subtle flex in their question, right? Now, was it necessary to say that the lawn was, it's only 84 days old and it looks like this? No, it wasn't necessary to say that. It wasn't strictly necessary, but what it was is to show, hey, listen, man, I'm bringing it. My lawn looks awesome. You guys need to put some respect on my name, because with only 84 days, I've turned a patch of dirt into that. So respect it. I get it. All right. Is Celsius uncertainty harsh to apply now as well? No, not really. I mean, the thing I would not do, Aesthetic, is I would not blanket spray the lawn. Like if you've got some areas where you've got some broadleaf or some sedges here and there, and you want to use Celsius uncertainty, absolutely, no problem at all with that. I would not be concerned about using those at all, especially since you are regularly mowing the lawn already. So you're already doing the things to help stimulate new growth. You're taking care of the lawn, you're feeding it, you're mowing it. If you got a couple of patches of weeds here and there where pulling it is just not too much, or has become too much, and you want to do a spot spray just to control those, no issue. No issue at all with that. The part of the big reasons why I recommend these two so much, why I recommend Celsius uncertainty so much, is because the lack of temperature restrictions, meaning you can spray them over a broad temperature range and with little chance of injuring your grass, and as far as the range of weeds that these two products control is very broad. You know what I mean? So if you take a person who's not an expert, you can use these. As long as you follow the label rates, you can use these successfully and get good control as far as the weed you're trying to target while not injuring your grass. Because there's people that will say, yeah, I don't really mind if I get a little bit of yellowing in your lawn. I'll go out and buy the product that's like $20 or $30, and I'll give that a shot. And if I get some yellowing, it's fine. But I get the emails from people like that when they go out and they go do that. They go buy something from the big box stores, or they buy something from somewhere else, and they do that. And then the next email I get is, I went and bought this thing from some I'll insert whatever, and my grass is yellow. What can I do about it? And I'm like, wait, like that's the choice you make, right? So a general rule is herbicides that produce good control while minimizing damage to your lawn, your desirable grass, tend to work a little bit slower. So if you were to go out and spray Celsius for broadleaf control this time of year, really you'd spray it and don't look at the weed you're trying to control for like a week or so. About a week, you'll start seeing it yellow. Week to 10 days, you start seeing yellow off and start to die off. Same thing for certainty. Spray it and you're not going to see anything for the first week. Really around the 10-day mark, with temperatures being warmer, you'll start seeing the weed start to yellow, and then it will really die off. So selective post-emergent herbicides are not like Roundup. They're not like glyphosate with diaquat in it. Like that stuff you can spray and like 20 minutes later, you're going to see a result, right? But it's non-selective. It's going to kill the weeds, going to kill your grass, going to kill anything it touches. If you're trying to get rid of the weeds and not damage your lawn, the herbicides you're going to use are typically going to be more expensive, and they are going to, by design, work slower to minimize injury to your desirable grass. So answer your question is a long answer to a short question. That I would have no issue with you using Celsius or certainty on your zoysia lawn. Just spot spray it and make sure you stick to the label rates. And if you go to Celsius, if you go to for the product description on the golf course lawn store for either of these, so for example, this is the certainty product description. If you go to product detail, you'll see this video where I talk about how I like to use these particular products. Again, it's not the only way to do it, but it's one way to do it, and I get good results with it. Same thing if you go look at Celsius. And here, I believe is also in the product description, product detail, you'll also find that same video. So I try to make it easy as far as providing, the rates on the label, give some guidance on that, and then where I can, video to show what ways of doing it. Not saying it's the only way to do it, but it's a way that I've gotten good results with it. And you can find both of those here, Arvin, in case you don't have them already. And of course, we have that herbicide kit, the Celsius Certainty kit, that really will give you everything. Give you the 2 herbicides, surfactant, and marker dye. So if you don't have those, I'd highly recommend that, because one, the surfactant does help enhance the performance of the herbicide, and then the dye allows you to easily see where you sprayed. And the dye you can also use with other products. So say you're spraying pre-emergent or you're spraying growth regulator, it allows you to see where you sprayed in your lawn to get that coverage more even. So dye is something that you should absolutely have in your lawn care arsenal. As far as like staining, it tends to it only sticks around, the color sticks around for 2 to 3 days. It's bleached by sunlight, so it's not like if you get some on your sidewalk, it's going to be permanently blue. It'll go away in a couple of days. Okay, next up is Andrew Holland. He says, "Hey Ron, any thoughts on Scott's Provista Kentucky Bluegrass? Never used it. Never used it. I imagine it's okay, but I've never don't have any direct experience with it. I would look at reviews on it and see what other folks have to say, but I've never used that particular product. I know, I know Scott's did, like, I think they have a St. Augustine, Provista St. Augustine, that I think Alan has, that Lawn Care Nut has, and he loves it. Like, it's an improved cultivar. I think you can actually spray glyphosate on it, from what I understand, and which is kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know anything about the Kentucky Bluegrass variant to know how well it would work. I imagine it's fine, but I don't have any direct experience with it to be able to tell you. So sorry I'm not more help on that one. All right, next up is Drizzy. He says, suggestions on dealing with crabgrass pressure and wanting to overseed. All right, so if you got crabgrass in your lawn, I don't have a bottle of it here, but what the best herbicide, in my opinion, for controlling crabgrass, assuming you don't have centipede or St. Augustine, is a herbicide called quinclorac. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, you go to shop, and then go to weed killer, and then you scroll down, this guy right here. So this is one of these herbicides, a post-emergent herbicide that is, they can be used on both warm season turf grass and cool season turf grass, other than centipede and St. Augustine. And I think fine fescue is also sensitive to this, but like your common ones, Bermuda, zoysia, Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, fescue, they all tolerate it fine. It's really, again, St. Augustine and centipede are the big ones. You cannot use this. So for crabgrass control, this is what I would I'd point you to, Drizzy. For Dallas grass, no, you didn't have Dallas grass. So this is, yeah. So this is what I would point you to. You could spray this on the crabgrass, and it's not really going to negatively affect your overseed. So you could spray this and then overseed a day or two later if you wanted to. It's not really going to have a negative result on your seeding project, because it's not pre-emergent, and it's not a product that you spray and it goes into the soil. It's a foliar spray, so you should be fine with that. Be sure, if you're going to get the kit that has that we offer with it, that gives you the surfactant and dye. At a minimum, you need to use surfactant with quinclorac for best results when you're trying to control crabgrass. The dye is kind of optional, but surfactant you absolutely want to use. And if you do that, you should be all squared away to get rid of the crabgrass and still be able to do your seeding project. So I'll send you a link here to where you can pick that up. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's see here. At Drizzy. There you are. There you go. Yeah, quinclorac for crabgrass. All right. And then you said southern northeastern perennial ryegrass lawn. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Yeah. So again, rye, KBG, fescue, they all tolerate quinclorac just fine. Again, read the label, obviously, but those guys will not be a problem. All right. Thomas Sanders says, do you see my comment? I do not. Your comment is blank. I don't see anything. Sure don't. Oh, I see this comment, but I don't see the other one before it. And then next up, we got Jimmy Miller. He was saying, Ron, I was wondering, how much of a difference would one see in ease of handling with a True Cut / California Trimmer / McLean compared to Revolution 26? Would either of the former be easier to handle? I mean, I don't know. I think you're kind of overthinking it, Jimmy. The Revolution ergonomically is nice to use. It's easy to handle. I mean, it's all those mowers you listed, the True Cut, the Trimmer, the McLean, they're fine mowers, but they are older designs, been around for a long time. The Revolution takes like the best parts of those mowers and makes them better, and takes the parts from Green's mowers that none of those mowers have and brings it down to a price that's more affordable. So I mean, it's better. I can't think of a way how any of the mowers you listed would be superior to the Revolution in any way. Like I've owned a True Cut, and it's definitely not as good. I've used a McLean and a Trimmer at Real Rollers, and I didn't really care for them. So it is a big difference. Now, having said that, you can get a great looking lawn with any of them. The biggest thing, as long as the mower is sharp, as long as it's taken care of, you're going to get a good result with a real mower. That's the big thing, is just having a real mower and using it regularly. But as far as if you've got the coin, you got the budget to go out and get something new, the Revolution 26 is where I would put my money over those. And again, out of those three, I mean, True Cut makes a great mower. I love mine, but you just can't. It's been tough to get parts for them. So for that reason, that would be my last choice out of the three that you listed there, other than the Revolution. So hope that helps. All right, next up is Io Men's. Says, it says, watching from England. Hey, what's going on? You're at 43 minutes. Wow, I'm way behind. He says, I'm just spreading 21 feet of virgin field topsoil. Thanks for the help. You're very welcome, Io. I'm glad to see you're over from the UK and you're working on your lawn. I guess it's pretty late there right now, but I still appreciate you taking the time to come hang out and watch the live stream. And then Robert Rainey says, we played last week and lost to Georgia Tech. Go no. Oh, that's right. You're a Seminoles fan. That's right. You did tell me that. I mean, at least that's not as bad as Alabama. That's good. I mean, I said, you know what? Like, Robert is almost perfect, but at least his flaws are not really bad flaws. If you were like an Alabama fan, I mean, I don't know, we'd be able to talk about grass, but pretty not much else. We don't have very much else in common. I remember now because I know Devin is the Alabama fan. He's the Crimson Tide fan. You're the Knowles fan. I get it. All right, which is kind of interesting. So, because he's all the way in Colorado, and you'd think, why would he pick, Alabama? But whatever. When did you pick Georgia? I don't get it. Anyways, next up we got Ricky Tick-Tavi. He says, hey, Ron, go blue. Really fighting dollar weed this year. I live next to a pond. Is certainty Celsius for killing it in St. Augustine? Yeah, they're both safe. I don't think you would necessarily need certainty, but Celsius should... I believe Celsius is labeled for that. Again, it may take more than one application to take care of it, but I mean, that would be Celsius, I believe, is going to be more your what you're going to want to lean on than certainty. They're both fine to use in St. Augustine grass. St. Augustine tolerates both those herbicides just fine. So yeah, it's pretty much the only warm season turf grass that you would not want to use Celsius on is Bahia grass. But as far as any of the other ones, Centipede, St. Augustine, Bermuda, Zoysia, you're going to be good to go. And certainty you can use on Bahia. It's just Celsius that you can't. So that's your only really real restriction. All right. And next up is James Smith. He says, okay, next new week, what's a drink tonight? I'm enjoying papaya, guava. James, you make me feel so inadequate when it comes to your stuff. I can imagine you probably went out this morning and picked the guava, the papaya, the passion fruit, and got a pineapple from Hawaii flown in and like blended them all up. So it's all natural and like fresh ingredients. Like all I've got is my watermelon and ginger mix and water and Arnold Palmer in here. That's what I've got. I mean, the watermelon and ginger thing that's fresh. That was freshly made today. So that's kind of good. I mean, it's still not as cool as your drink, but it's something, I guess. He says, and don't forget to hit the likes. Ron sleeps better the more he gets. That is true. If you guys would not mind hitting that like button, I would really appreciate it. Costs you absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the channel. All right, next up is True Gator Fan. He says, here in Memphis, last week, our temps got in the low 60s and the mid to high 80s, and all the lawns in my neighborhood are partly browning. Could this mean the lawns are trying to go into early dormancy? Kind of unlikely with only a couple of days of that, True Gator Fan. I mean, more than anything else, if you haven't had rainfall, which most of the Southeast hasn't had very much, the lawns in the Southeast are really struggling because of lack of rain. If that keeps up where you start getting lows in the 60s, then yeah, the lawns are going to start to go dormant. But if they were already brown, I wouldn't risk. I'd point that more towards the heat than the cool at this point. And yeah, that was your question. So yeah, nothing else to add to that. Stephen Wynn says, using dithiopyr in the spring and prodiamine in the fall, why would you do vice versa? Great question, Stephen. So dithiopyr in the spring to me is a better choice because unlike most pre-emergents, dithiopyr has the ability to control young crabgrass. So if you have a little bit of crabgrass that's already growing in your lawn, dimension dithiopyr can control that. It can kill young crabgrass, whereas prodiamine cannot. So also, given the fact that you really want longer coverage as much as possible, especially in your fall pre-emergent, I find that prodiamine, given the choice between those two, prodiamine is a better choice for a fall pre-emergent, like 2 apps of it in the fall, and then switching to dimension in the spring versus the other way around. Like the best option, if you got a warm season lawn, is to do spectacle flow in the fall and then either prodiamine or dimension in the springtime. But if you're going to use prodiamine in the fall, then I would use dimension or use that dithiopyr in the springtime because of the ability that it has for against young crabgrass. So, so I hope that helps. That's the reason why it makes sense to me to do of those two: dimension in the spring, prodiamine in the fall. It's a good question. Hopefully my explanation makes sense to you, sir. Stephen, when? That's a good question. I think I'll make a short out of that because I'm sure someone else is going to have it. So you'll be internet famous, Stephen. You'll be like, you have like a little snippet of you like asking the question and well, me reading your question and getting the answer. So there you go. Will Addington says, no rain here in Alabama for almost 2 months now. At this point, I think I'm looking at dirt much better. It's true, man. It is. I agree with you. It's been a rough couple of months. We had a little bit of rain here in Georgia today, but I mean, it's tough to really get the lawn looking its best when you're not getting any rainfall. You can only water so much, and you just need rain. So it's going to start cooling off now, so that's something, right? So September, your lawn should start looking better because the temps are going to be a bit milder, and you should get a nice boost in color to the lawn in September with the temperatures getting a little bit milder than they have been over the past few months. Let's see here. DK says, if you didn't use any chemicals for weed control, no pre-emergence, how long do you think it would take before you were full weeds again? Of course, we would never do this. Just curious how long. Full weeds, probably never. Because as long as I'm still able to feed the lawn and mow it regularly so I can keep the lawn thick and healthy, I will have some weeds here and there, but I mean, the weeds are still going to be the exception rather than the rule in the lawn. Now, if you ask the question, no pre-emergent, and then just don't do anything in the lawn, just neglect it, like don't mow it and don't feed it and just leave it alone for a year, then it wouldn't take very long. A year, probably less than a year, it's going to look pretty bad. So big thing is if you can't do pre-emergent, if you're still able to keep up with your nutrient program and regularly mow to keep encouraging new growth in your lawn, you're going to still have some weeds. You're going to have more weeds than if you didn't use pre-emergent or post-emergent herbicides, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as if you neglect the lawn. So the thing you can't do is neglect it entirely. So good. That's a good question, DK. Again, we'd never do that, but I mean, and I think I've said this in so many words, in like the monologue that I had earlier, in that the way you really want to think about herbicides is as a tool to get ahead, as a tool to injure or kill the plant that you don't want in your lawn, aka the weeds, while minimizing injury to the plant we do want to keep, aka our grass. So if you treat them that way, if you go into using herbicides with that mindset, that it's really a tool that I'm going to use to allow my lawn to get ahead. And then the thing that's going to keep it ahead is a good nutrient program and regular mowing, so it gets nice and thick and makes it more difficult for the weeds to compete. You're going to be ahead of the game. But if you're one of these people that thinks, every month I'm going to get out there and I'm going to spray herbicides on my lawn, one, not a great plan. It's not great for your lawn, not great for the environment, and you're not going to get you're working harder than you need to. So use herbicides appropriately, like use them to clean up weeds. To get them under control, but really focus on growing the best stand of turf grass that you can, because by doing that, it's like natural weed control. All right, next up we got True Gator Fan. He says, I saw armyworms on my sidewalk and treated last Friday, and my lawn is the only one greening back up. Any theory? Yeah, you got rid of the armyworms. like armyworms will damage a lawn very quickly. And if you sprayed an insecticide of some sort, like, I mean, what I would recommend is a Celiprin. Like, a Celiprin's a great product for armyworms, or really any, like, sod webworms, any turf caterpillar, excellent for that, along with your typicals, your grubs, annual bluegrass weevils, a bit of, pretty much any kind of lawn damaging insects, while also being a more eco-friendly option. A Celiprin is a great choice. But if you in your neighborhood were the only one that actually put out an insecticide to control the armyworms, and everyone else just let them just party on, then yeah, your lawn's going to look better than everyone else's. So that would be my theory. It's like you got rid of the thing that was causing the damage to your lawn, so your lawn was able to recover. Everyone else allowed that just to keep happening, and their lawns don't look as good because of it. Assuming I'm understanding your question properly, that would be my theory behind why your lawn looks okay and everyone else's lawn does not look as good. Gerald Jennings says, Ron, my McLean mower is having difficulty cutting uphill. The grass is emerald zoysia. Is it too late to verticut with a Sun Joe? It's a bit late in the season, Gerald. If you want to turf rake this time of year, I'd be okay with that. With verticutting, unless you are in like South Georgia or Florida, where you still got quite a bit of season left, I'd be careful, because I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. But as far as the lawn thickening back up fully after verticutting, you might not have that. So it's really your call. It's not going to hurt anything permanently either way. But if your goal is I want to verticut and have the lawn come back and look really nice and lush and everything, there might not be enough time for that, depending on where you are in the country. That's the only consideration I would really make. As far as mowing uphill, I'm not sure how you're using the McLean, but when it comes to real mowing on a slope, I find that if the soil test kit is our slope, if you mow diagonally, right, like that, I find produces the best cut. Cutting this way lengthwise is going to create like a terracing type effect, where the lower side of the pass is going to be lower. Like, you're going to cut the grass lower than the higher, so it's going to kind of have this, like, I don't know, like a stepped kind of washboarding type effect. And then the worst way to cut a slope, in my opinion, is cutting straight up and down. So doing this, don't do that. Like, you're going to cut really low going uphill, and it's going to cut a lot higher going downhill. And unless you keep the mower on the surface, like keep it evenly on the surface, it's going to bounce. You're going to be more likely to scalp and do all kinds of, it's just don't, whatever you do, don't do straight up and down. Also, from a safety standpoint, when you're going downhill, you're more likely to slip, versus if you go diagonally. So either cut lengthwise, which would be going up and down is my up and down at the slope directly would be my least favorite option, both from a cut quality and also a safety standpoint. Then lengthwise, from a cut quality, is not going to be as good. The one I like the most is to cut diagonally. That is how I cut my lawn like 90% of the time. And even on the off chance that I cut lengthwise, I'll still do a cleanup cut afterwards diagonally. So if I cut like this, that means I'm double cutting the front lawn. So I'll cut like this first, and then I'll cut diagonally when I'm done to make it look really nice. So try that if you haven't already. And then as long as you go light with the turf rake or verticut, I mean, it should be okay again, especially if you're in a part of the country where we still have quite a bit of growing season left. Ruben Texeria is up next. He says, I have some dollar spot and I put some fungus liquid control down. How long should I wait for it to turn green again? Depends on the extent of the damage, Ruben. So remember, whenever you put out a fungicide does not reverse the damage already caused by the disease. So you apply a fungicide, it's gonna prevent it from getting worse, and really within 2 to 3 weeks, you should start seeing those areas that were damaged improve. So if it was truly a disease problem, you would apply the fungicide, and then really 14 to 21 days later, you would apply again, just to prevent you don't have like a relapse of the problem that you have in your lawn. But it's really a time thing. So you apply it, it's going to arrest the spread of the disease, and then depending on how bad the damage was, it could be a couple of weeks, it could be longer. So it just depends on how bad the damage was in your lawn. A fungicide stops it from getting worse and allows the lawn to heal and recover. So to give you an example, or case in point, if you look at Headway, the Headway product description, because this actually happened to my lawn 4 years ago, I think at this point. So Headway G, where is it? Right here. Okay. So if you look at this was my lawn this is a few years ago this happened. So you can see, got some large patch of my lawn, not great. I was really hating life, really upset about that, was not good. I applied Headway, and then 2 weeks later, if you look really carefully, you can still make out where the damage was, but the lawn looks a lot better. So you can see it went from that to that in 2 weeks. And now this, I would consider this to be like light to moderate damage. Like I've seen large patch or brown patch where the ring is really burnt in really good, like where it's almost like bare, like dirt, like it's really damaged. And that's when you're looking at more like that 3 to 4 week period to fully have it fully recover. Like I caught this fairly early, and then if you look a couple of weeks later, you can still kind of make it out. But really, it's you apply the fungicide, and then the lawn. It's just a time thing, how long it takes the lawn to recover from the damage from the disease. And as far as you had a question, so what do you recommend? Headway G is a great option if you prefer a granular. My personal favorite fungicide is Pillar SC. So I'll show you here. If we go back to shop in the fungicide section, Pillar SC I like for a couple of reasons. One, it's really easy to apply. There's only one application rate. It's 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet, whether you're using it as a preventative or curative. So which is really nice. Whereas with Headway, if you go read the label, depending on the disease you're trying to take care of, there's different rates as far as how much of the product you should be applying. So I'm a fan of Pillar. Also, with it being a liquid fungicide, it's going to work a little bit faster than the granular will. But either one of these are going to produce a great result. Both products, both Pillar and Headway, have 2 fungicides in the product. So it's you have 2 different modes of action, which is why I'm a big fan of them. But of the 2, if you had an active issue in your lawn, Pillar SC is what I like more because, again, liquid, work a little bit faster, and it's really easy to apply. It's kind of nothing to really think about. Like one of the bottle covers an acre, and you can tell that because an acre is, if you look here really closely, 43.5 ounces in the bottle, and an acre is 43,500 square feet, right? So it's 1 ounce per 1,000 is what you would use for that. So of the 2, Pillar is my jam for for an active problem you have in your lawn. So I'll send you a link here to the fungicide insecticide section, and you can decide for yourself, but that is what I would do. Okay, next up is Ahmed Jones. He says, I did a late scalp on my Bermuda and fertilize. Is this okay, Ron? You already did it. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's like, we're already in it now. It's like, whatever. Someone says, hey, I'm thinking about having a kid, but then they're already pregnant. Like, you're only one way out of this now, right? You already did it. So, yes. I mean, you did a late scalp in your Bermuda, you fertilized it. Is it okay? Sure. It's more than, it's going to green back up. But yeah, it's always funny when people ask me a question, but they ask like after they already did it. And, it's funny. I think that Real Rollers is scalping. I'm not sure they did the entire turf parks. I haven't been over there in the last week or so, but I think they were scalping the one of the pods in the turf park, to try and get it looking its best. So we'll see, because you guys are going to see it like in 2 weeks, whenever they have the party. So we'll have to see, right? We'll have to see how that hashes out. But yeah, it should be okay. Rad 1986 says, hey Ron, I just leveled my KBG lawn, looking better every day. First cut was at 1 inch and it looks good minus the balls spots. I plan on overseeding Kentucky bluegrass in the next few days. Okay, yeah, sounds like a good plan. So you leveled your lawn. So it looks, it sounds like it's just recovering from the top dressing, but that works, man. It sounds like a good plan. Sounds like a solid plan to me. Yeah, just give it time and just keep working on it, and it should come back in without issue. Just patience is the word of the day. You said, once the seeding starts growing and I'm cutting, would I be okay to push the lawn with a nitrogen blitz or take it easy on the nitrogen? I wouldn't. I know you have closes in turf grass. But I mean, that's something, that's not something that I would do on a new lawn anyway. So if you were already like a season under your belt and you want to consider doing that, if you want to give it a shot, then fine. But on a new lawn, I really wouldn't. And that's really not something that I would do on a warm season lawn. Like I had a comment on YouTube today. Someone asked me that, said, hey, you should nitrogen blitz everyone's talking about now. Should I do that on warm season turf grass? No. Not unless you want to get spring dead spot. I would not do that. I would not pound the lawn pound a worm season lawn with lots of nitrogen in the fall. It's a bad idea. Again, unless you just want disease problems. All right. The notorious Zaz says, "Good evening, Ron. Hope you are doing well. Do you ever put down split applications of Spectacle Flow in the fall in your yard, or do you find one application is sufficient?" Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Yes, I've done it both ways. I've done a single application and I've done a split application, and I got great results with both methods. So it really depends on you. This year, I haven't really decided yet. I might do split. I might do a split again. Last year, that's what I did, and then the year before that, I just did a single app. So either way works. Just make sure if you decide to do a split application, stick to the annual. Make sure you stick within the annual limits. But outside of that, I've gotten great results both ways. So hope that helps. And I'm going to pray for you, and I'm sure one day you're going to upgrade your football team. You come over and become a Dogs fan. I get it. Yeah, hopefully that helps. The notorious Zaz. And let me save that comment. That's a good one. All right. Next up is Adam Starks. Adam Starks. He says, "Hey, Ron, I know we are a ways away, but looking at your calendar in October, you put down 12/0/24. Can you explain why you put down so much nitrogen that late in the year? Trying to learn." Great question, Adam. So one, it's not a ton of nitrogen. It's 12% nitrogen, and a lot of it is slow release. And the reason why I choose that particular fertilizer for my winterizer, my fertilizer to close out the season, is really more to do with the amount of potassium in it. So closing out the season, when I start the season, I like to give the lawn potassium as it's waking up. And then as we're transitioning from hotter weather to cold weather, then I also like to close out my fertilization program with a higher potassium fertilizer. And the 12/0/24 is a good choice for that. The nitrogen, and again, being 12% is really not that much. Like the previous comment that was asking about the nitrogen blitz, most people that do that, they use straight urea, which is like 46% nitrogen, right? So it's a lot, that would be way too much. But 12% nitrogen over the course, and again, at the rate that I apply it, which is 4 pounds per thousand, and put about half a pound to N, it's really not that much. So that is my theory behind it, Adam. Hopefully that helps, sir. It's a good one. Mr. Adam Starks. Any relation to Tony Stark? I know he's Stark. You're Stark, so I guess it would not be any relation. But yeah, hopefully that explanation makes sense for you. It's more about the K, not the N for me. All right. Steven says, "Would you put pre-emergent on bare spots from leveling, or wait for it to grow in? I have 2 spots struggling to fill in, but I didn't want to be late on pre-emergent." Yeah. So if you did a leveling, like you did a top dressing, and it's already, like, in other words, there was already grass there, and you put out pre-emergent, or there's already grass there and you just did a leveling job, then yeah, I would still apply pre-emergent there. Yeah, because if you don't, you're gonna have weeds growing there, and you don't want that. So then I would absolutely, yes. Answer your question, yes, I would. I would not be late on pre-emergent, because the negatives of that are far worse than not putting out pre-emergent. Okay, guys, so Oliver just sent me a pic. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Goodness gracious. You know what? I'm up to this is, I would say, you would normally say, someone might call the Photoshop card on this, but you can actually see where there's grass on the sidewalk because he hasn't even blown it off yet from mowing the lawn. If you guys want to see an insane Bermuda grass lawn that largely is due to a good nutrient program, good cultivation practices. So he's been doing his verticutting, his scalping, and just doing everything he needs to do to keep the lawn looking tight, and along with regular mowing. Because think about Oliver. Every time the live stream starts, he's like, "Hey, Ron, I'm here, but I'm going to go mow my grass, man. Then I'll be back in." And that's pretty much how always happens. You too could have a lawn that looks like this. This is insane. Look at this. Look at that color. I don't care who you are, that looks good. I mean, I guess if you don't like stripes, then probably in the wrong place. But that color is insane, man. Gorgeous, 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 rich green. Man, I'd hate to be your neighbor. I mean, I got pretty high standards, but I mean, you put pressure on me, man. It'd be tough. It'd be tough, Oliver. That's looking good, man. That's looking good. We have come a long way from being concerned about spring growth regulator, haven't we? We've come a long way, man. I remember our original conversations way back when, compared to where you are now, man. You are getting it done. Let me show that one more time. That is absolutely gorgeous. Color is incredible. Great work. Keep going. Keep going. That is if you talk about a lawn flex, that is a lawn flex. You know, some guys like buy Porsches or buy fancy guns or have whatever your thing happens to be. I mean, among lawn care nerds, that's pretty legit. That's up there. That is up there. All right. Next up is James Smith. He says, with Spectacle Flow, I didn't split the cost with neighbors. I told them I just go ahead and spray their lawn for them. Uh, really, really for me, really for me. Yes, it's a selfless act, right, James? You're trying to help them help you. Is what's happening. I get it. I get it. I got you on that one. And then Andre Taylor says smaller size or bottle. Oh, I guess so. What are you asking, Andre? I'm looking at your other question. I'm not sure what you're asking here. If it's around spectacle, this is the small. This is the small bottle. Like the 18 ounce is the small one. There's one that's way bigger than this. That's like $1,500. I mean, it's expensive. So this is the cheap one. Believe it or not, it only gets more expensive than this. All right. Next up, we have Rad. He says, after leveling my Kentucky Bluegrass, I have a decent amount of bare spots because there's over 1 to 1.5 inches of material on top. Sounds like a lot. When I walk on them, it feels spongy. Will those spots likely die off, or is there hope? Time will tell. Bermuda would grow through that. With KBG, I don't know. Sound like to me you went a little bit heavy, Rad, but we'll find out. Time will tell. It always does at this point. Okay, next up is Stephen Wynn. He says, just guessing, what percentage of common Bermuda do you have? Oof. I found common growing in my 419, maybe 15 to 20% of my whole lawn, and I'm sad. It came out of nowhere aggressively. Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe 10, 15%. Maybe that much. Maybe not even. Yeah, I'd say 10, 15% of my lawn. I've got some common in it, but it's spread throughout, which is why I'd use this combination. Use a new, you guys can't see that. We're on camera. I use these two growth regulators, a new EZ and Primo. This combination, money. If you have a Bermuda, really for any kind of lawn, but especially if you have a Bermuda lawn with some common in it, does a really nice job evening out the growth of both grass types. But you can use it on cool season lawns, warm season lawns with only one cultivar in them, doesn't really matter. But what I started using it for, and where it works really well, is when you have a blended lawn of Bermuda, of hybrid Bermuda and a common Bermuda. And in case you're interested, Stephen, we do have a kit. If you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, and you find a new right here, you can buy it by itself, or we have a kit that has both a new and Primo in it. And this goes a long way. This will last you a while. And then Primo, 16,000 square feet if you got warm season turf grass. This, a whole lot more than that. So yeah, 160,000 square feet out of a bottle of a new. So a bottle will last you for quite a while, depending on obviously on the size of your property. But that's, if you're looking to mask common in a hybrid lawn, doesn't get rid of it, but just makes it a lot less visually apparent. Because it evens out how they all grow together. A new and Primo, great combination. So in case you're interested, I will send you this link right now. Okay. And then here, Ween says California Trimmer Catalyst. Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about it, man. I'd like to try one out sometime. I've not got my head. I haven't gotten one on my hands yet. And then Free Speech says impediment stunt mites. Okay, cool. Thanks for chiming in. You're talking with the little guy here. Where is he? Little guy that's minding his own business in the world. That guy right there. Okay. And then let's see what else we got here. He says, hey Ron, Archie dropped the mic on that statement about the crown. Which one? What did Archie? Which part? What did he? Oh, about using. I missed it. I know what Archie said about like not testing, about soil testing, but which one about? Oh yeah, he's right. To me, the lawn is the crown of your home wears, and the lawn is the seam of the house. He's absolutely right. I agree with that, Instagram user. I wholeheartedly agree. That is a good call. I'm not sure if I'm even still live on Instagram. To me, I am frozen. I'm not sure if it's even still working. Oh well. All right. Next up, R. Jacob. He says, "Hey Ron, what are your thoughts on the Revolution 26 versus the California Trimmer Catalyst for a 5,000 square foot yard?" Hard to say. I think you get a great result using either mower. I can't really comment on how well the Catalyst would work because I've never used one. So hard to say. Hard to say. Cut quality between the two of them, if they're both set up properly, I imagine you're going to get a great cut with either mower. The Catalyst has the advantage of that you have the ability to, you can verticut with it, you can turf rake with it. It's like a Swiss Army knife type system, which is kind of cool. But I've never actually used it. I don't know how it is, how well it is to use it, how to operate it, how well it's put together. I've never actually used one, so I can't say for sure. I can tell you that the Revolution, compared to my greens mower, which is what I measured against my Greensmaster 1600, I was very impressed. Like there's not a whole lot in it between the two of them as far as cut quality. It's a mower that punches well above its weight, especially given what it costs. You can buy the mower brand new for under $3,000. Like my Greensmaster was $3,500 used years ago. So I mean, you're talking about a brand new mower that approaches what my GM 1600 can do as far as cut quality. It's really great mower. All right, let's see here. Aesthetic says, "Thank you. I didn't mean to do a weird flex." Okay. LOL is my first time and new to the grass hobby. I'm just making sure I don't harm all the work I've done, hence overstating the days, but no taken. No, man, listen, here's the thing you gotta realize with me, aesthetic. Don't take me seriously. I don't take myself seriously most of the times anyway. So I'm just trying to give you a hard time. But it is, I mean, I have to tell you, dude, for 84 days, this is insane. This looks incredible, especially being zoysia. I mean, that looks really good. I mean, you can see a few areas which are a little bit thinner than others, but man, I mean, that's incredible work. The color looks awesome. And the thing that is most impressive about it is I can tell you've been mowing it. I can tell the one thing you've been doing, which is the hardest thing to get people to do, you've been doing, which is mowing the lawn. And you wouldn't have to tell me, hey, I mow this lawn regularly. I can look at it and see that. I mean, out the stripes aside, you can just see it, how vibrant and lush the grass is, how healthy it looks. You can tell it's a lawn that's being cut regularly with sharp equipment. So great work. Keep it up. Keep it up. It only gets better. The nice thing is that you're only 84 days in. Next year, it'll be even better because you're going to be starting from an even better position. So just keep going. Brian Howell says, Revolution 26 or wait for the new 20? I have 3,000 square feet of Bermuda. Thank you for answering all our questions, Ron. Oh, man. I mean, either one will work well. I mean, 3,000 square feet is not a large lawn. So the 20-inch might be a better, I don't know. I mean, they're both going to, that's not that. Here's the thing. If you, the one thing is I like thick stripes. I like wider stripes. So even if I had a 3,000 square foot lawn, assuming I had somewhere in my garage to put it, I'd probably still get the 26. Honestly, I mean, if I had a really small lawn, like we're talking like 1,000 square feet or less, then yeah, in that case, the 20-inch makes more sense. But a 3,000 square foot lawn, it's not a big lawn, but it's not a small lawn either. Like you can still make a 26-inch mower work on that. So as long as you got the place to store it and you're a fan of wider stripes, then I would still go with the 26. I personally would. If you don't like wide stripes, then you could do the 20. Like if you look at this lawn here, looking at the stripes in Arvin's lawn, those look like double wides to me. Those look like double wides because the mower that I'm seeing that he's using right here, it looks like a smaller mower, like a really narrow mower. And I don't believe that mower. You see that? See how narrow that it is? Double wide. You can actually see it right here. Like you see the mower right there in the lower right. I don't know, like 7 o'clock. Like there's no way that mower produced that stripe without making 2 passes. So I mean, the double wide looks really sweet, even on a smaller lawn. Let's see how small that property is. But even with that, the double wide looks really clean. So if you like that look, the 26 is where I would go. If you don't like that look, then the 20-inch is where I would go. But I mean, it's like you can't go wrong, man. It's like saying, 911, turbo. It's like saying GT3 RS or Turbo S. Both awesome. You really can't go wrong either way. It's really just more your preference, your flavor, what you like more. You know what I mean? You can't really go wrong. All right. Next up is Jimmy Miller. Says, Robert, it's go dog, sick 'em, not go Knowles. Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you, Jimmy. All right. So we have a super chat. This was from Mr. Lance F. Thank you so much, Lance.
Super chat
He says,
received.
thank you. Always looking forward to Friday night turf talk. I appreciate that so much, Lance. Appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for the super chat. Really does mean a lot. And Robert says, I had to be that guy. Double cut earlier and saw a window to get the carbon kit with a new Easy Primo down while listening to the stream. Nice. I'm not mad at you. I got mine. So here's the thing. I sprayed my growth regulator based on the way that like 2-week intervals line up. I mean, I've been that a new Primo combo again a couple weeks ago, got that down, and I really look forward to it because the the week after it really locks the lawn down. Like it almost gets like that it truly behaves like carpet. Like it's not even really grass. It just doesn't grow. Like I mow the entire lawn, and like on the Greensmaster 1600, which does not have a very large grass catcher, it's maybe a quarter full over the entire lawn, which is like 11,000, 12,000 square feet. So really love that combination, Robert. It's I agree with you. It's a good option. And then Granitor goes down tomorrow. Yep, good stuff. And then Tomac says, wait for the 20-inch, 26 inches too much for 3,000 square feet. It depends. I think it really depends on the look you're after, Tomas. I think that if you like a wider stripe, then yes, the 26 inch. If you don't like a wider stripe, the 20. And probably the most important question is if you have a space somewhere to put it. So if you have like the garage space or a shed or somewhere you can put a wider mower because it does take up more space, then that would be an option or consideration as well. But really it comes down to preference of which one looks better to you. Scott Corley says, how late can I saw it into the fall? Can I put Meyer Zoysia in September? That's a good question. So with Zoysia, I don't know for sure, Scott. Around here in Northeast Georgia, they sod year round. They do Zoysia and they do Bermuda year round because our winters here are pretty mild. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but if you were my neighbor here in Georgia, I'd say the ideal time to do a Zoysia sod project would be in the early spring. But given that our winters are not really like super cold, you'd likely still be fine. Like I always tell this, like my lawn was sodded in December. So, and you see how it looks now. So it really depends on what part of the country you're in and how harsh the winters get in your part of the country. Because what you want is to do the preparation work, get the sod put down, and then allow this, and there be enough time of active growth for the sod to root in, because that's going to help it survive the inclement weather, the colder temperatures you have to be dealing with during the winter months. But if that's the case, or you live in a part of the country or in Florida where it gets cold but not really, then it doesn't really matter. Year round, you can do it. Now, if you're in Virginia and you're looking to do sod, I don't know. I probably wouldn't. It might not be enough time to get it to establish before it gets really cold and you guys get snow. So it depends on what part of the country you're in. As unfortunately, as far as what's going to be the best answer to that question. Quincy Cordoba says, now that we're reaching the end of the growing season, what's the toughest weed or biggest challenge you've had to deal with this season? Lack of rainfall. It's not been weeds. I don't really have a lot of issues with weeds in my lawn. It's just lack of rainfall, more than anything else. That's been the biggest challenge. It's not one that I can really do a whole lot about, unfortunately. And then says, also, do you spray fungicide for preventative rate or only spray when you start noticing fungus signs? Great question. So I spray fungicides at 2 times throughout the year, Arvin. So in the springtime, late spring, early summer. So in the months of May and June, I spray fungicide preventatively. And then in the fall, in October and November, I spray fungicides. And you can see that documented here in the calendar. If you go to resources and lawn care schedule, and you go to the monthly application calendar, you'll see here that in May, I do my spring first fungicide app, and then in June, the second one. And then there's no fungicide at all until we get to October, where I do my first fall fungicide app, and then again, a second one in November. So I do a total of 4 throughout the year, but in 2 different times of the year, one in the spring, one in the fall. The one in the spring is to help prevent diseases like large patch, brown patch in my lawn, and the one in the fall is primarily to help prevent spring dead spot. So that's the sequence that I do them. Outside of that, unless there's an active problem in your lawn, I wouldn't recommend using fungicides because it is hard on the biology in the soil. So hence why I limit it to only a couple times out of the year, which what I find will produce a good result for me. So hope that helps, sir. So no, I don't wait because this is a good question, because if you wait, you could do that, right? You could take the approach of, I'm going to wait till there's disease visible in my lawn before I spray fungicide. But if you do that, then you're also looking at a situation where depending on how bad the problem is, it could be you're looking at the damage for a few weeks, several weeks before it recovers. You know what I mean? So I prefer to prevent the problem in the first place versus waiting for it to manifest itself and then control it after the fact. Big part of why I also use pre-emergent, because I'd rather just not have weeds in my lawn in the first place versus wait for the weeds to appear and then go spray them with post-emergent herbicides. Just more headache, more hassle. The juice isn't. I mean, I think the juice is worth the squeeze to me to do preventative fungicide apps, and it's worked well, which is why I do it. Scott Corley says, I'm in Atlanta. Oh yeah, then yeah, you're fine, man. If you want to do again, it would have been better in my opinion to do it in the spring, but you'd still be okay. Should not be a problem. The only thing I'd say with zoysia, if you're doing a new zoysia lawn, you're sodding it, don't do pre-emergent. With Bermuda, you could do pre-emergent a few months later. Zoysia, it's more sensitive. So if you're doing zoysia in the fall, I would not do pre-emergent until springtime. And then it'd be like prodiamine or dimension, not something like spectacle. All right, Randy's up next. He says, hey, Ron, have you ever heard of using mycorrhizal fungi in your lawn? I've read that it improves grass roots and allows the grass to use more nutrients. Curious what your thoughts are. Thank you. Yeah, I have. So Biospectrum, and also like the, if you're used Essential G or like Carbon Pro G, which is another product that Miramichi Green makes as far as a granular biostimulant, those all have bacteria packages in them to increase mycorrhizas. So yes, I'm a big fan of it. I do it monthly on my lawn. So yes, there's a lot of benefits to adding that to your soil. It helps with the efficiency of your fertilizer. If you're someone that uses fungicides in your lawn, which is something that I do, it helps by regularly putting that into the soil. It helps restore the the bacteria that get damaged from fungicides. So yes, I'm a huge fan of fungus or bacteria packages like what you get in Biospectrum. I'll actually show you what I'm talking about. I think I have a bag of it here somewhere, but I can also show you. If you go to shop and Miramichi Green Biostimulants, this product, which is in the carbon kit, is literally all about improving microbial activity. Like all this is beneficial bacteria for your soil. And I felt so strongly about it that I put it in the carbon kit. So every month my lawn gets that, Randy. Big fan. And so if you want to read more about it, you can check out Biospectrum right there. All right, let's see here. RV18 says, hey, Ron, since you have the outlet with the different cartridges, does this keep you from doing any summer height reset scalping? Yeah, I haven't done a height of cut reset for a couple of years in the summer. I just verticut and turf rake instead. I could do one. I mean, the problem is that given the size of my lawn, it's just so much material that comes out that it's a lot of headache to get rid of all of it. That's why I don't do it. So verticutting takes less out. The lawn looks less bad after doing it, and it still produces the result that you would get from a like a height of cut reset. So I haven't done it for years, ever since getting the Owlet RV18. Not that I'm opposed to it, I just haven't had the need. All right, next up we have, let's see. Oliver, he says, yeah, I got the picture. Thank you so much, Oliver, for the picture of the lawn. Looks amazing. He says, just got done mowing. Email you a flex picture, hashtag golf course lawn store, which he's talking about this one, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Super awesome, Oliver. That's awesome. I gotta incorporate that. I gotta email you and get permission, but I gotta use that picture in like a blog post or something, because that's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. People are gonna think it's a fake picture because it looks so good. The grass is incredible. RV18 says, do you use Spectacle Flow for both fall and spring apps? I don't. I only use Spectacle Flow in the fall. Now it's funny, a buddy of mine that he has a spray business. We were talking last week, and he was saying, hey man, I tried Spectacle Flow in the spring this year, and it was okay. I didn't really notice too much delay as far as green up goes, but I just I'd much rather just save spectacle for the fall and use prodiamine or dimension in the springtime. So in my case, it's only for my fall pre-emergent. Okay, Alonzo Jenkins says, says, hey Ron, AJ here. Is it a good idea to spray your shrub beds with pre-emergent? Yes, it's something I've done. It does help. The pre-emergent that you put in your shrub beds or mulch beds doesn't tend to last or work as long as it does on your lawn. But yes, you can absolutely do that. Like whenever I'm putting out spectacle on the lawn, I will also spray my mulch beds as well. When I do prodiamine in the spring or dimension in the spring, I'll also do my mulch beds as well. Yep, no issue with that at all. All right, B. Bailey is up next. He says, what's up, Ron? My neighbor's multi-pack arrived to get that Bermuda out of the zoysia grass. Good seeing you at the shop in person. Folks, Ron is cool on and off YouTube. Yeah, it's funny. I remember you, William. So I was at the dealership and I was talking to like the person that greets you, and this person walks up to me and says, you're Ron Henry. I'm like, how you know it's me? I may look like him, but you don't necessarily it's me. So I can tell by your voice. I'm like, yeah, I'm me, I guess. So it is weird. It is weird being out in public and having people that just recognize you out of the blue. And it's happened a couple of times at the Falcons. When I went to the Falcons game last year, whatever it was, whenever it was like Brady's last game in Atlanta, and went to the game. And someone there also recognized me as well. So it's weird. It's weird. It's just grass. It's like, it's grass. I wouldn't think that people would really pay attention that much to it, but it's crazy. Which means I can't do anything crazy in public, right? I always got to behave because you never know. I may not know all you guys, but apparently a lot of you guys know me. So I can't be out being like an idiot anywhere. So cool stuff, man. It was really cool meeting you, and I'm sure we'll run into each other again. If you get a chance, come out to the into the turf park party. I think it's a mid-September. I gotta look and see. That's a good question about something. Something just came to mind about martial arts. I gotta make sure there's not gonna be a problem. That would be bad. Actually, let me look here. Okay, I'll look into it and figure it out. All right. Rop and Jesse says, let's see here. It says, hey Ron, glad we can have verbal access to you. Can you tell me if next spring is okay to use Fusilade 2 on Bermuda grasses invading my tall fescue here in Las Vegas, Nevada? Yep, that wouldn't be a problem at all. The idea is because in this case we're treating Bermuda like a weed, you want to use Fusilade or use whatever herbicide you're using to control it whenever the weed, in this case Bermuda, is actively growing. So Fusilade will work. Acclaim is another one that will work. Pylex is another herbicide, selective herbicide people use to get rid of Bermuda grass. I'm sorry. So it just depends on which one. But Fusilade is labeled for tall fescue. It's honestly, if your goal is to really get rid of Bermuda grass in a fescue lawn, Fusilade 2 wouldn't necessarily be my favorite choice. I might go, and it's less expensive, but you might look at Pylex or Acclaim. It's your call. Well, here's what I would do. Early in the spring, you still have enough time. If you already got Fusilade, do a round of that and see what kind of results you get. And if you're not liking the results, then you could go to something like Pylex or Acclaim. But yeah, the big thing is you want to apply it whenever Bermuda grass is actively growing because we're treating it like a weed. You wouldn't want to do it when it's dormant because you're just not gonna get the uptake and not gonna get as good a result. All right. Edmund Ladones says, glad you remembered my comment about nitrogen blitz. Was just chilling here watching your live while cooking chicken feet. Okay. Yeah, I guess it was you that asked the question. I know I received the question either yesterday or the day before on one of my videos saying, hey, would you do the nitrogen blitz on a warm season lawn? I was like, no, I would not do. I think I just said no, don't do that. Like, not a terrible idea unless spring dead spot is something you just enjoy dealing with. Okay. Next up is Leo Garcia. He says, hi, Ron. Mulch better summer in Texas. I would say much better summer in Texas this year. Lawn looks happy. Nice. Glad to hear that. That's true. I didn't hear I have as much belly aching this year from the nice folks in Texas than in years past. This year seemed like you guys tolerated the heat a bit better than in years past. So that is a true thing, Leo. I can say I observed that as well too. All right, Roger Lewis Sr. is up. He says, recently I had a well and sprinkler system installed for my front lawn and size only. Decided to not include the backyard. My well pump has a spigot, but it is inside my garage. Any ideas for DIY? I mean, depends. What you talking about for like watering the back lawn? I mean, you could just drag. I mean, if you got a spigot, you just drag hoses out there and water it. Personally, I would just. I mean, if you just are trying to, here's the things you're gonna run into, Roger. The convenience of having an irrigation system for the front and side yards, you're really gonna want that for the backyards as well too. So if it's a budget thing, then I'd say fine, just drag hoses out there. But eventually, I would just plan to do an irrigation system in the backyard as well, because the convenience of having one, once you have it, it's not like dragging hoses around is not going to be fun. So that would be my thing. Do that until you have to, but then plan for an irrigation system in the backyard. And you like sprinkler system for my backyard? Yep. I was thinking about using multiple hoses connected to my well spigot with a 2 to 3 way splitter on one end. But just think about that. It sounds, yes, you can do that, but the hassle factor is the problem. Because think about it, if I had to water my lawn with like garden hoses, I got to go out there and drag the hoses out, set the sprinkler heads up, run that for a while, remember to go turn it off or get a timer to turn it off. And then when I got to go mow, I got to go drag all that stuff off the lawn and go mow the grass. It's just a hassle. And then it's kind of like, where are you going to store it when you're not watering the lawn? It just adds a lot of extra work when you could just go like pick your phone up and just say water now, and then it just does it. That to me, that'd be worth it. So yes, for this year, if you budget only allows you to do the front lawn and the side lawn, fine. But I would absolutely plan to do an irrigation system in the back lawn. I think you're going to come to the same conclusion as well too. Once you start using that, having the benefits of having irrigation on the front and side, you're not going to want to drag hoses around. You're not. Okay. Pollock's of Paradise says, hey, Ron, looking at the calendar and still being a hot time in Florida, is it okay to hold off on pre-emergent for another month? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to wait till late September to do it, that would be okay. That would be okay. Again, adjusted according to based on where you are in the country. Whenever soil temps are in the 70s, low 70s, that's when you'd want to get your pre-emergent out. So yeah, if you're in Florida, sure, delaying it a month or so would be just fine. Stephen Wynn says, 128 watching with 121 likes. Great job. That's right. Thank you so much, Stephen. We got it, right? We got there. Okay, Brian Baldino says, so I was overseeding my lawn. Many people stop and compliment me on perfection. Then some contractor across the street screams out, I'm wasting my time and money. Now I feel bad. Psh, whatever, dude. Listen. Haters are, you have to learn to absorb the energy, to absorb it and allow it to be to motivate you. Make your haters your motivators, man. I mean, if someone is across the street yelling at you that you're wasting your time on your lawn, they're just mad because they're not doing it. They wish they had a lawn like that. They don't have the time, the dedication, they don't have the stuff. They're not, they talk about astronauts, you gotta have the right stuff. They don't have the right stuff to have a lawn like yours. So I wouldn't, whatever, dude. I mean, if you have people hating on you, that means you're doing it right. If no one is no one's like giving you a hard time with what you're doing, then that would be something more to be concerned about. But if you have haters, then you're on the right track. If people are thinking about it, if someone is taking time out of their day to tell you that they don't like that something that you're doing that really has no bearing on their life whatsoever, like how upset or how sad of a person do you have to be to do that? So I wouldn't worry about it. I would go out and mow my lawn more. It just tells you you're on the right track. Like add an additional day of mowing. That's what I would do. Don't let people rain on your parade, man. You do you. All right. Ed Moore says, good evening, Ron. I'm nothing else. Okay. I live in Northern California, Bay Area. I'm starting over on my lawn because Bermuda grass took over my turf type tall fescue. I use Lifeline non-selective. Okay, cool. Yep. So you got Bermuda, it invaded. Bermuda did what Bermuda does. And yeah. So I guess next time we're just going to have to, you can use, there are selective herbicides that your fescue tolerates fairly well that will control Bermuda grass. But yeah, if you want to start over with a renovation, that would be okay too. But just realize that Bermuda is not gone. It's not it's not gone forever. So I would make plans, whether it be to get yourself a bottle of Pilex or some other selective herbicide that's safe for your fescue, that when Bermuda comes in, you're going to have to spot spray here and there to control that. So just plan for that. It is not gone forever. It is not gone forever. Let's see here. Roger Lewis says, I want my lawn pool table green. What can I use to accomplish this? A good nutrient program, water, and regular mowing. Now, as far as what I recommend for like getting a boost in color, you can use either or both of our liquid fertilizers. So if you're looking for something to feed the lawn, then our 22-3 product, this one here, the Golf Course Lawn 22-3 liquid fertilizer, which we partner with the Andersons to create, been a really well received product, would be a good choice. If you already have a liquid fertilizer that you're using that you like, but you just want to get an increase in color, a boost in color, then the micronutrient is something you can add to whatever fertilizer you're currently using, liquid, and get a nice pop in color. If you're not doing either of those, then you can use both of these together. You can use both these together. And there's guidance, there's videos in the descriptions that will tell you how I would recommend going about doing that. So I'll send you links to both of these Robert Lewis Sr. So this is, or Roger, I said Roger. It's Roger, not Robert. So sorry for that. My apologies, sir. So that is the fertilizer, and then this is the micronutrient. And those two should put you in a good spot. All right. But then again, coupled with regular mowing. Gotta mow. If you just use those products, a big part of why this lawn looks like that is that he regularly mows it. Like literally he shows a mower in the picture when he's taking the picture because he's mowing the lawn. So big and important part. Let's see here. Jacob says, have they said when they'll be coming out with Revolution 20? I believe when Lee was on the live stream last week, later this year is when they're planning on launching it, from what I understand. That is so I would just hold out for that if this is the way you really want to go. So yeah. All right, next up is Brian Howell. He says, how long does a preventative fungicide application last? A month or so. So that's why I do it. That's why I do one in May and then another one in June, and that's why I do one in October and then another one in November. If you're using fungicides for curative purposes, like you're trying to control an active problem in your lawn, then you want to space the applications out like 14 to 21 days apart. But if you're just doing it as a preventative, every 4 weeks apart is fine. And then next up we have Stephen Wynn. He says, talking about pre-emergent on Bermuda, you said a few months on Bermuda sod. You said a few months, but is that active or? Well, I'm sorry what you're saying. I said a few months, was that active or did I spot in the backyard 2 weeks ago? Should I be good to do for pre-emergent in the spring or wait longer? Okay, so for Bermuda, if you put in new Bermuda sod, I would give it 3 months before I applied pre-emergent. So with my lawn, when it was sodded many moons ago, it was sodded in December, and it got pre-emergent that following spring, that March, and it was just fine. So if you did a sodding project on Bermuda, like say last month, or this month, say in August, I wouldn't go out and put out pre-emergent this fall. I would let it wait. I'd wait until next year, just out of abundance of caution. It would likely tolerate it just fine, but if you're just trying to be safe, I would wait until the spring before you do your first pre-emergent app if you are establishing a Bermuda lawn now. All right, next up is Jimmy Miller. He says, I wonder if Spectacle G might be a viable alternative for those of us without a means to spray. It would be, but it's more expensive. Like Spectacle G per app is more expensive than Spectacle Flow. So I would just get a sprayer. Again, you don't have to get a super expensive sprayer. You can get one from like one of the big box stores. I mean, and as long as you take care of it, it should run for a good while for you. You know what I mean? So I would just get Spectacle Flow. I really would. All right, Ed Moore, he says, hey, good evening, Ron. Are you familiar with a non-selective herbicide called Lifeline? I am not, but you said the active ingredient is 24% glyphosate, ammonium? Yeah, so it's probably going to be just fine. So it's like glyphosate, so I guess Lifeline, Eraser, Ranger Pro. Those are all names for different products that have different amounts of different percentages of glyphosate in them. It should be fine. It should do a good job. I really, I wouldn't imagine you're going to get a bad result with it. All right. Quincy Cordoba says, biggest mistake I made this year. I'll go. I sprayed prodiamine in the spring on a newly seeded lawn. It works. Delayed my growth for about 4 months until June. Yeah. You don't want to do that. Stay away from pre-emergent if you are seeding a brand new lawn. Pedestrian Decimal says, hey, Ron, this dry spell is killing the Bermuda. I mean, I won't say killing it. It's making it dry and brown and not looking its best, but killing is a strong word. And I'm trying to not run up the irrigation water bill too much. It was so dialed in June, but now it's a bit browny. That's right. That's everybody. Like my lawn, even now. Like you look at the rain. Look at I mean, I got a video here from earlier when we got some rain before the live stream, and you look at it. The color, it looks okay, but the color's not looking its best. You know what I mean? It's not looking that great. You can see some areas are doing better than others, and that's just due to lack of rain. If you look far off there in the background, you can see along the fence line, it's a little bit brown there. So it's just, you got to have rain. Along with everything else you're doing, rainfall is important. Vlad Montana says, hey, Ron, what's the rate for Spectacle Flow? 3,000 square feet in one serving. So it depends on whether you want to do a split application or not. If it's your first time doing it, just to be safe, so so we can give yourself some headroom, I would go out at a rate of, and also depends what kind of grass you're using. So I'm answering this question as if you have zoysia or Bermuda. So if you're spraying Spectacle on a zoysia lawn, then 3/10 of an ounce, so 0.3 fluid ounces in 3 gallons of water will cover 3,000 square feet. That is what I would do. So if you have a bottle that looks like this, so I use an empty one of these for putting out Spectacle, that much. So you're 0.3. It doesn't look like very much. Like that much is all you need. 0.3 fluid ounces, that much, 3 gallons of water, 3,000 square feet, and then repeat that again in December, and you're good to go. It doesn't. Again, a little bit goes a long way. You do not need a lot of this stuff, and absolutely do not over apply Spectacle. Don't do it. Like you're gonna see how much it is in 3 gallons of water. You're gonna be like, there's no way that could actually work, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It'll do a great job. Just stick to the rates. All right, Corey Lynn says, hey, Ron, seeded Bermuda almost 3 months ago. Have full coverage and the growth has been great. That's good. Just dealing with crabgrass and sedge. What are your thoughts for controlling weeds through winter into the spring? Okay, so you did it 3 months ago. Yeah, so you can do pre-emergent now if you want to. So what I would say is if you're dealing with crabgrass, you could use quinclorac to control the crabgrass. For sedges, you could use Certainty. Use this to control the sedges, and then get your pre-emergent out. What I might say is, it's Bermuda, so it'll be fine. If you do Spectacle, do a split application. Don't go the full rate. So do like 0.10 fluid ounces per 1,000, and then again in December. I wouldn't go out at the full rate. I mean, it's 3 ounces. It's a 3-month-old Bermuda lawn. Zoysia would be absolutely a no-go for that, but Bermuda would be okay. Just break it up. Don't go heavy in one application, given that it's a relatively new Bermuda lawn. And again, with quinclorac and Certainty, that will clean up the weeds, the sedges, and the crabgrass you currently have in your lawn. And then Spectacle will help prevent your cool season lawns, like cool season weeds, like your henbit, your Poa annua, other weeds that tend to be a problem when temperatures get cooler. So that is what I would do, Corey. Let's see here. It's not a question for me. Let's see. I scout Bermuda lawn. Okay, this one from Matt Jones. I scout my Bermuda lawn, and we have just got rain in Memphis. We had 100 yesterday. I only had less than a quarter of an inch of rain this month. Yeah, man. Welcome to the party. That's all of us, Ahmed. I'm on. It's not good. Not been good. I got some today, and I was really happy about it. But hey, it's just not much rain this time of year. Let's see here. That's not for me. And then let's see. I don't play point says, hey, Ron, I was trying to prepare my parents' lawn. I cut the grass down to bare soil. How do I raise pH levels? Lime. You would use lime. So you can use either a calcitic or dolomitic lime, and that will bring your pH levels up. So what I'll tell you is something like this. I mean, you can probably find lime locally, but if you want to, if you're someone that's all about that Amazon life and you want something you can just pick up easily, then I would say this. This is what I'd recommend. I don't play at I don't. That one. That's a calcitic lime. All right. Jimmy, he says, that's not for me. BL 1980 says, hey Ron, with rain in the forecast, I scalped 13,000 square feet of yard, almost down to the dirt. Any tips for recovery? Time. I'm hoping it's not too late in the season, but the grass color was looking poor. It's just gonna be a time thing. Yeah, just keep feeding it on your normal schedule, but just time. You just have to wait. Don't do anything crazy like throw 2 pounds of nitrogen at it or anything like that. Like just like feed it the way you normally would and give it time. All right, Dalvin Larry says, hey Ron, how can I kill centipede in Bermuda? Quinclorac doesn't work. It only knocks it back, but doesn't kill it. You've seen my yard and the battle with my neighbor's salad bowl is ongoing. I need to end it. Are you using surfactant or an MSO, a methylated seed oil with it, Dalvin? So you could do that. You could do that. It may take a couple of rounds of Quinclorac to get rid of it, but that's really going to be your best bet. I mean, if you want to selectively control centipede in Bermuda, Quinclorac is a great product for doing it. Just make sure you're using surfactant. Like that's a big. I can't stress enough. Like that Quinclorac by itself is I mean it's pretty good. It works okay, but with surfactant it really shines. Or surfactant or a methylated seed oil, it really does well. So if you're not doing that, I absolutely would, because you should get a better result if you were to take that. You add that adjuvant to the product whenever you're spraying it. All right, next up is RV18 says, what is your last app of PGR? I'm doing one this month. We'll see how things look at the end of September. Typically, the October 1st is the last time I will spray growth regulator. Normally, I won't do the 15th one. Normally, the beginning of October is the last time I spray PGR, but it all depends on weather, temperature, how the grass is looking. That'll determine that. Ahmad Jones says, what fertilizer would you recommend since I scalped late? Whatever fertilizer you've been using. So a good option like Humic Max is a great option if you need a fertilizer with some phosphorus in it. Our Complete 14714 is also a good option. So I'll show you really quick here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer. I would say either one of these, Humic Max or the Complete 14714. Humic Max has a bit more quick release nitrogen in it. So as far as pushing a bit of growth faster, this is going to do a better job than the Complete 14714, but it really depends on what your soil needs. Either one of these two is what I would go with. I'm on. So I'll send you a link of where you can pick those up. But yeah. But again, really it's going to be a time thing. I would just give it time. I'll give it time. All right. Next up is, let's see here. Rubber Glass says, what's a good source of building a custom spray boom for liquid apps? Looking to build a mounted sprayer for my lawn tractor. I don't know the answer to that one, Rubber Glass. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. That's something I've ever done. I imagine like maybe any tractor supply store that sells lawn care equipment, they would likely have some of the raw materials you need to be able to put something like that together. But yeah, I can't point you to anywhere off the top of my head as where you'd be able to find that stuff. All right, and then our last comment of the evening is going to come from Mr. Progression Decimal. I think he says, Ron, have you used Revolver and/or Speed Zone for goosegrass? Nope, I haven't because I don't have goosegrass. That is one weed that crops up for me every summer until my soil health gets better and better with time. Looking for a recommendation. So you use Revolver and Speed Zone, you say, huh? Yeah, that's can you use Revolver on residential lawns? Yeah, it's fine for that. Yeah, Revolver is good for that. Yeah, it's labeled for use on home lawns. I've never tried that combination progression decimal because I've never had goosegrass. If you found somewhere that someone has said that that combo works, then give it a shot. I mean, Revolver is not cheap. I mean, it's really, really not cheap. So, I mean, you could give that a shot, but again, I've not personally had to use that to be able to tell you how well it would work. I've had good results with other Bayer products. I no reason to not think it wouldn't, but I would be able to tell you from personal experience. Grasshopper Lawn Care says, what do you recommend for fall pre-emergent? Depends on the kind of grass you have. If you have Bermuda or any kind of warm season turf grass, then what I would recommend is a product called Spectacle Flow. Really good pre-emergent. As far as pre-emergent for warm season turf grass, in my opinion, doesn't really get much better than Spectacle. It's not cheap, but one of these bottles covers 3 acres. And as far as a pre-emergent to keep Poa annua out of your warm season turf grass, doesn't really get much better than Spectacle. Outside of that, if you have a cool season lawn or Spectacle's just not in the budget, then you could go with a couple of rounds of prodiamine. Like that would be a good option as well too. But I'd really try and push you towards Spectacle, even if you're splitting the bottle with someone else, because it really is that good. It's more. It costs what it costs because it's worth it. It's really that good of a product. So hope that helps, Grasshopper Lawn Care. I will send you the link to the collection page with all the pre-emergents in it. But given that you're in Georgia, Spectacle is what I would use. I imagine that you're dealing with warm season turf grass. Spectacle flows with Iowa. If you have customers, that's what I would be using on their lawns, because that way you're not going to have callbacks and it's just going to work. It's going to work. And then let's see here. Upward 510 says, hey, Ron, after my overseed next week, what post emergent should I use and when? Tall fescue. Yeah, so after you overseed, you're going to not really want to use any kind of herbicide until the lawn grows in. Once it grows in, if you want to spot spray with a post-emergent herbicide for weeds here and there, like that would be okay, but you're really going to want to avoid pre-emergent until the spring. Because it can damage the young grass you just spent all that time and money trying to get to grow in. So I would personally avoid pre-emergent on a newly overseeded fescue lawn. If you want to use post-emergent herbicides for spot spraying just in the areas where you have the weeds, that would be okay once you get to the point where you're mowing the lawn, you're regularly cutting it towards it's established, it's growing in, then that would be all right. But I wouldn't blanket spray, and I absolutely would not use pre-emergent. Brian Hall says sulfentrazone works well on goosegrass. So there you go. You got an option for that progression decibel. And guys, on that one, I think that is it for this evening. So I will cue the outro music. So guys, gals, again, thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your Friday night to come hang out with me and talk about lawn care and football and other topics. Again, if you're in the Southeast United States, 'tis the season for pre-emergent, so don't wait on that. Like, get your pre-emergent on order, get it applied, help make your life easier in this fall and in the spring by preventing weeds in your lawn versus chasing them after the fact. We've got an assortment of pre-emergents in stock and shipping now at the Golf Course Lawn Store. The link to our pre-emergents will be the pinned comment in this video once it is over. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come hang out with me, and hopefully you guys got some value out of it, or at a minimum, hopefully it was entertaining. College football starts, I think, this weekend, and there's also some good Formula One racing. So if you guys are going to be out there, barbecuing or doing whatever you want to do on Labor Day weekend, be safe, have fun, and I will see you guys next weekend. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.